everybody. How's it going? This is so exciting. So, just getting started. My name is Natalie. If this is your first time seeing it, because the lady to the other side of me is who you really came here to see.
Y'all need to be here to see Natalie. She's amazing.
My name is Natalie. I'm a criminal defense attorney. Welcome to my channel. And I am joined today. Who's doing that? Don't let that be me. Especially by the one, the only, the eminent Emily D. Baker.
We'll go with eminent. Yeah. Hello, everybody. For all the Natalie Law chicks, I'm Emily D. Baker. I'm a former deputy district attorney from LA County, turned podcast host, YouTube law tuber commentator
extraordinaire. Like you do it all.
I love doing it. I'm blessed to be able to do it. It was after over 10 years and some health struggles, it was time to move on with my career, and it allowed us to move out of state, which was just a blessing for me and my family. And it's allowed for a whole second career. I didn't think I would have a second career in my 40s, but you know, it's here and I'm living for it because I get to nerd out about the stuff that I love and talk to incredible attorneys like you. So I feel like if we had worked at the same courthouse, we would have gone to lunch and talked about everybody acting a mess in our courthouse all the time.
Yeah. The LawTube has like fulfilled that little thing that I've been missing because everything's been so virtual, of my little lunch group where we would get together and talk about, cases and judges and everything. And it's definitely been that.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that for me, Emily D. Baker has been a mentor for me here on YouTube. When she first mentioned my channel, I think I got like 1,000 subscribers in a day or something. And I was just like, where did all these people come from? And they said, Emily D. Baker mentioned you. And I was like, excuse me? she did what?
You make incredible content. I love the way you break stuff down, and I love giving people different perspectives. I see things through the career that I had, through the life that I've lived, through how I grew up. I see things through that lens. And as a lawyer, you learn to see your own lens and go, this is the lens I see it through. This is the other side. But I love that you're a defense attorney. You bring an entirely different perspective, and you are not afraid to just be like, this attorney should not be doing this. And from a defense attorney side, showing how important it is to protect the rights of the defendant. And it's something I talk about as a prosecutor too. I think it has so much weight coming from you. And it's so hard for people to hear when they hate the defendant. And when they're like, but for just this person, can we suspend reality and the Constitution and the rules and throw them in a bottomless pit immediately with no food? And that's not how that works. And so I love that you will call out both sides of it. And I loved your video reacts to Zoom court. They're fantastic.
Thank you. I love reacting to Zoom court. But aside from that, what I love about your channel is that I like that people see that prosecutors consider the defense's strategy, the defendant's rights, because they want to have a good prosecution. A good prosecutor wants to have a clean case. And so they should take it very, very seriously when you're like, we're not going to trash talk the other side, guys. This is about the facts. This is about the law. We need more of that. We need more of that in the public discourse. And I love your channel, and I love all the things that you do with it. I aspire to that one day, just to be able to dedicate that much time to like fine tuning.
You're still doing justice, crime fighter. Like you're out there doing the work. So there is a benefit that comes from this is now what I do full time. I'm not prepping for trials. I'm not working on motions. I'm not trying to figure out this crazy world of court that's sometimes in person and sometimes virtual, and what that means for people's rights. Like, what does that mean for the rights of victims who want to go to trial? What does that mean for the rights of defendants who have had innumerable holdovers from court? They're like, I didn't waive time. And the court's like, I don't even mind that you're not waiving time. We're waiving it for you. And not being able to see victims' faces when they're testifying against you, or potentially having them on Zoom being coached by somebody. It's all interesting, but it's all also a mess. And I love being able to have those conversations with like, but how does this impact the rights of both sides? And when we talk about clean prosecutions, I think a good prosecutor the job of a prosecutor has to be to seek justice. That doesn't always mean somebody goes to prison. And that has to come before winning, and that it gets lost sometimes with prosecutors. And we see it in cases where you're like, You're sure you wanna do that right now?
Yeah.
That's what you're
Yeah.
doing? You're prosecuting that defendant, that's what you're picking to do?
Yeah.
And with clean prosecutions, it's the only way to honor the victims who are sharing what they've been through in trying to protect your prosecution so they're not coming back. I mean, there was one case I tried 3 times, and I cried every single time the daughter of the deceased testified, and
Oh,
it broke my heart bringing her back to court every single time because she had testified at 2 preliminary hearings because it was a attempted murder of a witness and they murdered the witness's mom instead. So she testified at the initial preliminary hearing about the underlying crime, and then at the preliminary hearing after her mother was killed, and then at the first trial and it hung, and then at the second trial and it hung, and then at the third trial. And when you've been through that, it's exhausting for everyone.
yeah.
It's just exhausting. And
Yeah.
you're sitting there in 20 whatever talking about a sidekick phone, and the jury's like, "When's the last time you saw a sidekick phone?" And I'm like, "This is an old case."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it matters, and it's
Matters.
something to talk about and should be talked about by everyone. Everyone should worry about the rights of the defendant, because if they take away their rights, what happens when it's you?
Yes. The mantra that I live by is that good laws and rights are made off of bad people. Miranda was a bad guy. Brady was a bad guy. These were people that did the things that they were charged with doing, but the way that the evidence was collected or their rights were violated meant that their convictions were overturned. And now we have rights because of that. So protecting the defendant is paramount, and that's what I see my job as. And doing justice is what I see your former job as,
Yep,
right?
'cause
So,
the prosecutors aren't there to prosecute for the victims. There were times I did things that the victims were like, "I hate you, and I hate that you're doing this." And the defendant was like, "I hate you, and I hate that you're doing this." I'm like, "I get it. I
yeah,
get that my job is that sometimes everyone hates me, but the right thing to do is not to throw this person in prison forever, and the right thing to do is not to just look the other way and not prosecute you. It's somewhere in the middle."
right.
And that's hard, but as a defense attorney, you're there for the rights of the defendant and to make the government do their job.
Yeah, put them to their burden every
It is.
day.
It is.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
As we run away and start talking, I know we have topics.
No,
Apologies.
no, 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 no.
It's so good to see
Please.
you. We haven't gotten to chat in so long.
It's
It's
been
just
forever. It's been forever. I mean, it's been like Twitter and stuff like that, but
yeah,
it's really been forever.
'cause we have
Um,
some books that we love in common.
Wait. Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. Trash books. They're so good,
Oh, good.
guys.
When I saw that on Twitter, I was like, "Oh, we will have the most fun. Whenever we get to see each other in person, we will have the most fun
We are gonna have so much
chatting
fun.
about all of this." But you guys, when I said Natalie and I would literally, if we were colleagues, would go to lunch, I mean, the defense attorneys that I worked with that I really liked, we went out to eat with each other. We got to know each other. And it's funny because people will ask me, like, "Oh, should you have a public defender?" I'm like, the public defender knows everyone in that courthouse.
Mhm.
There are great public defenders. There are public defenders who you're like, but maybe not that one." It's the same
Yeah,
with DAs. There's DAs where you're like, "Ooh,
yeah.
I'm so sorry. Did you know they
Yeah.
have a supervisor? You can ask." Um, but the good public defenders and the good DAs tend to get along, even if they're not getting along in court, even if they don't see eye to eye on discovery motions, they tend to get along. Not all of them go to lunch together, but they respect each other. And that's part of how the system works. So sometimes when you're watching trials and you're like, why aren't these attorneys losing their minds at each other? It's like, well, there's more relationship than that. It's not like TV, and it's not like civil court where the attorneys might never work against each other again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is that in civil court is notoriously uncivil. People are saying that I sound like a computer, so hopefully that's better now. But civil court is notoriously uncivil because they don't spend a lot of time in court with each other. First of all, even if you see the same, attorney, maybe a year from now, it's been a year. You don't have to build a relationship
Yep.
with them, right? We see each other every day, every single day. And there's nothing more taxing than having a full blown grudge with either a defense attorney or a prosecutor. You see each other every single day, and you're going to have to work out cases
Yep.
together, try cases together. It happens inevitably. Okay. I've had my feuds. It's happened.
Same. Same.
It's inevitable. It really is inevitable. You know, personalities will clash. The way that people practice, maybe if you don't think they're the most ethical, that's going to be a
Yep.
problem. But for the most part, we endeavor not to be each other's enemies because it really does help the job go better, and it helps you to see the case for what it is.
Yep.
You know, if you are caught up in the person's personality, maybe you're not looking at, oh, actually, I'm missing an issue here.
Mhm.
You know, I'm missing that I might not be able to suppress this because of blah, 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 because you want to go to war with this prosecutor that you
Right.
hate, right? So it's not always beneficial.
No, and for the prosecutors, if you trust a defense attorney and they come to you and they're like, "I need you to hear me on this one," you're like, "My door's open. Come on in. Tell me about it."
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and then as a prosecutor, if your officers don't give you something to turn over and it's a complete mistake, a defense attorney who trusts you will be like, "I know it's a mistake. I've got to raise the issue," but they're also not going to try to fillet you
Yeah.
over something that might not be something that you did intentionally. And that kind of professional courtesy goes a long way to resolving cases. And people need to communicate well and hear each other in our justice system, even
Yeah.
though it's not what we see mirrored in society at the moment. There's no hearing anyone, but it's so.
Well, you know, what's funny is that the courtroom is such a different and strange place from the rest of society. And I think I started to realize that when I went on, shout out to Ricada Law, I went on his stream and I had people emailing me, how could you go on his stream? How could you do that? You guys have such different views from each
Every
other.
time I go on his stream, I get blown up in my
Really?
email and in my DMs every
Yeah.
single time.
Really? Okay, I thought it was just me. I was like, "What do
No.
you think I am? Like some like special like little
It's
school?"
not you, and I suspect that there are others that get that too when they go on his stream. But anyway, keep
Sure.
going. I
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
you're not
So, okay,
alone.
I'm so glad that you just said that because it makes me feel a lot better because I was really like, "What's wrong with me? Like, why?" Okay, can't believe you went there. And I'm just like, "Do you know that I have fellow defense attorneys, public defenders or private attorneys who have vastly different political views than I have, and I have to talk to them every single day. Do you know that there are prosecutors that have completely different views than what I have? And I have to talk to them and negotiate with them and work with them every single day. Judges that have totally different views than mine,
Yep.
and I have to talk to them every single day. Me talking to someone, I mean, just having a conversation with them who has a different viewpoint than me is my everyday life. So it was nothing to me. But then I said to myself, you know what? In normal life outside of court, we all go to our different corners and we don't socialize with people that have different views than us and challenge each other on our opinions.
I
So
didn't always, and then I moved to Tennessee. So,
yeah.
you
And
know,
then I moved to the Eastern Shore. I got you.
but it's like I oh, I never have a problem talking to somebody with different views if they will have a respectful conversation.
Yeah.
And as long as it's a respectful conversation and they will hear me, it's fine. If we get to yelling and name calling, I'm out and I will never speak to you again because that's
Yeah.
but in court it's true. And even in law school, so many differences of opinion and things can get heated in law school when you're talking
Oh,
about different types of cases and should this be a right, should this not be a right, and then it's in an academic setting as well, so you're supposed to explore, okay, well, what's the craziest end result of this potential train of thought, what's the craziest end result of that train of thought, because you have to learn to think bigger and you have to learn to think down different lines of thought. So it's not unusual for lawyers to have not just friendly relationships, but conversations with people who they have very different viewpoints from, but still respect and admire and care for. And I think
absolutely.
we used to be that way. We didn't live in so much like, oh, my city's like that, but your city's like this, and I would never live here. And I get a lot of questions. People are like, you moved to a full red state. And I'm like, I don't disagree with everything that people around me believe, and I don't agree with everything people around me believe.
Right.
It's more diverse than that, and
Right.
people are more nuanced than that. But I forget how much we learn that as lawyers and how important
Yes.
that is.
Absolutely. And I think if people can see it and understand it, they'll be less distrustful of us. Because I've had clients be like, "Oh, I mean, you know, you're just going to go to the back and talk to the judge or talk to the prosecutor and decide what you're going to do ahead of time. That's, you know, you're going to sell me out for your career." People think that, right? They really, yeah. guy, so far from the truth. Yeah.
Y'all put up with I've seen it so much. Y'all put up with so much patience. You're like, I picked a career path to help you,
Yeah.
but go off.
Yeah.
Go off.
I love that. But go off. Say what you want. Say what you want. But people will say that, not understanding that if you see me talking to the prosecutor and laughing with them, it doesn't mean that we're exchanging your case for me to get into their office one day. That's something crazy I've heard. I'll never go to a prosecutor's
Like,
office.
if you want to go to the prosecutor's office, you're like,
Yeah.
no, I would have
No,
picked that direction
no.
if I wanted to go that direction.
No, absolutely not. So
You might see me on the bench, but you're not going to see me.
I'm jumping all over the place. So let me finish this thought and then go to the thought that you just made me think of right there. So I've seen people say that, but in turn, I'm saying to them, you understand that this is a human being that I see every single day. Do you want me to have an ulcer? Do you want me to be yelling and screaming at this person at every single turn? I will go off in court. I will make the arguments I need to make, but that's in court or on the record. But when I'm talking to the human being, I'm going to treat them as a human being, and I expect the same in return. And the only time it's a problem is when they're unable to do that, right? That'll never come from me. So I think people need to see that and understand that we are human beings that see each other every single day. But I was going to say, you made me think that when my first year as a public defender, so this was 2010, my first year as a public defender, I was sitting in district court on the Eastern Shore, and I had just finished a bench trial with my client. I won it, right? I was feeling good. And I went and sat because the next case was being called. It wasn't my case. And I had another case. And the whole time, the client's mother and sister had been giving me a really, really hard time. Like they were stressing me out. But I won. Client won, not guilty. We were just sitting there signing his paperwork, getting ready to go. The mom is sitting in front of me in the pew. She turns around and she goes, "You did a really good job." I was like, "Thank you." So she was like, "So so now that you're interning as a public defender, do you get to then move on to become a prosecutor, get promoted to be a prosecutor, and then get promoted to be a judge?" And I was
That's
just
how the
like,
system works. You become a defense attorney, then a prosecutor, then a judge.
yeah. So it's like
funny.
the defense attorney was way down.
Yeah, it's like that's where you start.
She thought I was an intern, right? She didn't even think I was a lawyer.
Right,
So
not a full lawyer.
did you think that they allowed me to try your son's case in which he could have gone to jail for 90 days as an intern? Like, not even as like a law clerk or so, just an intern.
Right.
And she was just like, "Oh, you're a lawyer?" I was like, "Yeah." And so I always thought that was very funny that she thought it was like the first step of being a lawyer is to be a defense attorney.
I had a case where we were doing an arraignment. I had a special arraignment, so it must have been a pretty serious case if I was handling an arraignment. And the arraignment court had it was literally a caged like jury box on the side of the courtroom, and all the everybody that was coming in to be arraigned came in. And the defense and I were talking over the rail. I was probably sitting in the first row in the audience, not at counsel table yet, because that court was so full and there was never enough room. And the defense attorney and I are talking, and this guy stands up who I'd never seen before, because I often don't look at booking photos before I come in for an arraignment. And he starts screaming in the court, "Apologize for my language, everybody. He's fucking her." And I'm like, why is this man yelling? I'm assuming there's like a baby mama or somebody in court.
It has nothing to do with you.
This has nothing to do with me. And it very quickly becomes very apparent that he thinks that I am sleeping with his 65-year-old defense attorney. I was maybe 28 at the time. And granted, it's a hard career and I probably look tired, but I don't think I look that tired. And he's screaming at the top of the lungs at the court, you see, he's fucking her." And I was like, this is an arraignment. Like, how have we gone from 0 to 100 at this arraignment?
This is the very first step, sir. If you can't make it through this without losing your crap,
we are going to have a problem. And I'm looking at the defense attorney. I'm like, this is not funny. I am not amused. He thought it was hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure he was.
Judge thought it was hilarious. And I was like, it's not funny. And I'm sitting there going, if I was a male attorney, nobody would be yelling this at me. Meh, 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 meh.
Yeah.
I was mad. I was not. Yeah. But it was one of those moments where I'm just like, oh, arraignment court. Glad not to be doing it.
Okay, I'll give one last anecdote based
Yes,
on what you
please.
just said, and then I'll move on to the icebreaker, which helps us get ourselves a little bit organized here on the back end while we're recuperating and do all the little YouTubey things, as you say. Okay, so last anecdote. We had this very interesting judge in the district court of Wycomico County, which is like the capital of the Eastern Shore, right? It's where Salisbury, Maryland is. It's like the big city of the Eastern Shore. It's a
Okay.
very small town. So it's funny to say that, but that's what it is, right? And he was, at the time, he was a retired judge. I won't say his name. And he was very interesting. He wore a tie that had a bunch of tiny little Confederate flags going all the way down them. And so you had to be really close to him to see what it was, because it just looked like a red and blue pattern. Wasn't quite sure.
Right.
And so, like, he'd ask you to approach or something, and then you get up there and you'd be like, oh, well, dang. But this anecdote is not about that. It's about the crap that women have to put up with in court.
But
And
on the bet, like
on the bench, yeah. So he made sure his robe was open so you could
so you could see
it.
his tie.
Yeah, he liked that a lot. He
Uh-huh.
also
Dang.
was very easy to manipulate into not guilties for people based on a lot of sexism. So if you had a RAPE case or a domestic violence case, he dismissed a case, right? So
Which as a defense attorney, you're like, this is disgusting, but also I need to do what's best for my
I need to
client
deal
because
with
that
it.
is my job.
And then for the prosecution, if you had a female,
Like you're papering this job immediately, get us out of here.
exactly. So everyone knew how to work him in order to get
Yep.
what you wanted because of all of his biases. Didn't like Black people, didn't like women, definitely didn't like the gays. He was a mess. So
He, you know what? He put it on his tie and he was like, this is where I'm
this
at.
is
It's
who
like,
I am.
we
This is
see you.
me. This is what you're dealing with. Okay.
Well, at least you knew what you were dealing with. It's awful, but you're like, it's better than if you hide it. We've seen
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
So when sentencing a not client of mine, not my case, I was just in the courtroom, sentencing a young man for a domestic violence. It must have been bad for him to find him guilty because he almost never did that. He goes, son, you lean back, son,
The lean.
a woman is like a train. You just stay at the station, another one will come by to take her place. Ain't no reason to beat on them. Just wait for the next one to come along. And it became the stuff of legend. A woman is like a train.
Of course it did.
Mm-hmm. And I was sitting there like, this is where I've moved to. This is great.
You're like, what have we done?
Yeah.
There was a judge that I will have to tell you about the two judges almost punching it out in the hall because that became the stuff of legends. We'll go to the opener, but there was a judge who would talk about strike offenses in California being like herpes. And he had a very long speech. And every time you're in his court, you're getting the herpes speech at least 3 times. He's like, sometimes, you commit another strike, they flare up. They're a mess. Sometimes they just lay dormant and they don't mess with you. So if you behave, they won't flare up. But if you act up, those strikes are going to flare up like herpes. Because in California, with the 3 strikes law and the LA County District Attorney's Office changed the way they prosecuted things so that the strike offenses are very serious, violent offenses. And then your third offense could be stealing a pair of jeans and you go to jail for life. The DA's office in LA said they weren't prosecuting nonviolent third strikes as third strikes. So you had to do like a serious armed robbery or something like that. And the judge would just, everybody, strikes are like, and the lean, always the lean.
Whatever they're about to do.
They always like, because they love being heard. Strikes are like herpes. Sometimes they lay dormant and sometimes they flare up. Depends on you. And I'm just like,
please stop. Please.
Now retired. He would go to lunch with a fanny pack on. It took me about a year of working in this courthouse to ask somebody, like, what's with the fanny pack? They're like, oh, that's where he keeps his gun at lunch. I'm like,
yeah, of course.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah. Okay, that makes me think of another one, but I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna hold it in. Maybe one day.
One of these streams will just be like, this stream, we have no topic. We're just telling stories.
It's just anecdotes with Emily and Natalie. That's it.
Right.
Courtroom anecdotes with Emily and Natalie. Okay.
And then we're going to see them on TV and we're going to be like, look, showrunners, don't watch our stream. We want credit for our stories.
Thank you. I know. What's the guy from Law and Order? His name is on all of them. I'm like,
Yep.
you just like watch YouTube and steal our anecdotes. I just know you are. Okay, so our icebreaker for today, while I tell you guys to do, as Emily says, all the YouTubey things. Tell me if you guys have any tattoos. If not, that's cool too. Tell me that. If you do have them, Dick Wolf, that's what I was talking about. Thank you. Tell me how many tattoos that you have. I'll always start since I'm asking you guys impertinent questions. I have 2 tattoos, none of which I can show you. They're not anywhere like gross or anything, but one is on my back and one is like really long running down my side. So I did the like lawyer thing where you put on your suit, no one knows how tatted you are. I started it and then I like started like forgetting that I wanted to get more. So I probably will get more someday. I've got 2. What about you, Emily?
I have, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8
Yes.
now. So I've got these. Again, these are all covered by a suit jacket.
Yeah.
So when I have a long sleeves on, you do not see them. These are newer additions since I left the DA's office. And then I have 2 down my back, one kind of all down my back that connects to my very crooked 1990s all black tribal tramp stamp because I am that bitch. And then I've got
Yes.
one on my hip.
Yes. The one on my back is definitely a tramp stamp. It's a tramp stamp. Even though it's a piece of poetry, it's a poetic tramp stamp. That's just what it is.
And I added to it. So the whole back kind of extends. But when I went there, like, and I'm like, look, man, I went to college in Massachusetts. We had to go to Vermont to get tattooed. It was a whole thing. I went with the gymnastics team. I have fond memories, but that shit was crooked.
Yeah. I got mine in, I think, 04 or something like that. No, 2002 is when I got my first tattoo. And it was like, I was in college in the Village. Like that's where NYU is. It's in the Village. There are tattoo shops everywhere. So I was like, oh, okay, I have to get one. And then I literally forget that it's there. Like most of the time, it's the first one I got. It's a beautiful piece of poetry. Don't remember that it's there. It could be misspelled for all I know. I don't think I've actually looked at it since I got it.
I was very concerned. I had a spinal fusion and I was like, are you guys going to have to go through my tattoo? Because please don't sew it back looking weird. And he's like, we can go lower than your tattoo. I'm like, right, because it's oddly high. I get it. It was a whole thing. But my college water polo team was very tattooed. We loved our tattoos. So my first one was in college and I was very excited about it. And then my second one in college, and then I got a job at the DA's office and started adding the little ones on the wrists as I knew I was going to be moving onward, but those were easy to hide.
Easy to hide. Yeah.
Yep. And LA doesn't, I don't know, juries are still kind of conservative in that way, not like politically conservative, but they want to see their lawyers kind of fitting the image in their head sometimes. And so you really want to make sure that you're trying to fit at least their kind of somewhat professional image so they don't spend their time focusing on, I don't know how to listen to her. She has tattoos and purple hair.
Yeah, you just never know. You never know. I feel like I feel like our juries are pretty conservative here. Yeah. They were in the county I'm in now. They were conservative on the Eastern Shore. They may come to a different outcome, but I try to wear skirts when I have a jury trial. A full suit and not just like a dress or I try to be as conservative as possible, and especially when I practice on the shore, I definitely stood out. I was a Black woman with dreadlocks, just like you just did.
Like we're trying to meet the rest of your image. I'm not white. We're gonna try to go with the rest of it. Y'all work with me here.
All of my shirts came to here. Everything was like a couple sizes too big just to make sure nothing was when it came to a jury. So I try to do that with juries, but nothing else. Nothing else. I am myself all the time.
Absolutely. And it's such an interesting context switch. There was a judge that told me I needed to wear skirts more. And I was like, no.
Good for you.
I wear pants. That's what I did. That's what I do. You can, with the rest of it, like I'm here, but I wear pants. It was also a judge that hated me. So I was like, I'm not going to.
Oh, definitely not. But also they shouldn't be commenting on what you're
No,
wearing.
on what I wear. I've never seen you comment on what a male attorney wears.
Just shut up. Yeah, just like I can say that because I've never appeared in front of that judge. You're just shut up. Okay, I know you've seen Emily D. Baker and you're seething now. You've seen it. You see what she's doing. You wrong. Okay.
And then the judges and y'all are like, no. And it's like, yeah, you see the judges where the female attorneys all show up in kind of lower cut blouses under their jackets. And then like, can you approach and you're like, oh, I see what game's going on in this courtroom.
Absolutely.
There are judges that are that way that will call you to the bench so they can look down your shirt. And
oh yeah.
You know what? We're gonna play into it. I'd like you to rule favorably on my motions. So
yeah. If you're gonna get a peep, I want a better motions ruling. Thank you. No, there is this one judge that's really in love with one of my former colleagues, and like everyone knows it, but he is like, he tries to hide it. So he doesn't try to be creepy about it, but we just all know how in love he is with her. And it's like actually kind of endearing because he's extremely elderly. So
it's more of a sweet, sweet admiration than a creepy,
he's not creepy,
exploitative.
Yeah. Yep. It's someone said, why isn't justice blind? Child, please, we wish.
Because people though. Because people. Justice is supposed to be blind, but because people. And people are people. And just because they're on the bench doesn't necessarily mean they're good people.
Agreed. Okay, so I'm gonna pick out a couple of your guys's telling me about your tattoos. I'll pick out a couple super chats, and while I'm doing that, you guys are in my house, okay? And when you come to my house, I ask that you take off your shoes so you don't track the dirt into my house. And so the way that you take off your shoes for this video is to like the video, please and thank you. Also, tell your friends that right now you are watching a live stream with Natalie Lawyer Chick and the Emily D. Baker, okay? The badass lawyer, okay? So let your friends know that this is what you're watching right now. We are going to be right after this little segment where I read super chats and look at your guys' tattoos, and not really look at them, but figure out what you got going on with your tats. We're going to be talking about the Cardi B versus Tasha K lawsuit, which I actually covered last year, kind of fell off of, and then saw that Emily was covering it, and I was like, oh my God,
I peeked my head up once on this case, like when it was filed, and then I peeked my head up again when the court dismissed the cross complaint. And then I was like, oh, we're at trial. I've been kind of monitoring it and stuff had gotten delayed, but now they're in trial. So,
and it's so rare for these civil cases to actually go to trial that, this is fascinating stuff. I don't think it's getting the news coverage that it should get.
It should be getting way more news coverage.
It is. Guys, this could actually okay, so, all right. Let me get to the chats, but
I'll get to the chat and then we will jump into it. And because we have so much to talk about, you see us trying to hold ourselves back. We're ready.
Yes, it's so good. I want to remind me to tell you guys why this case personally fascinates me, because I had a personal experience with being on the other end of a civil lawsuit for defamation. So I had in a different state, in your state of California, your home state of California. So I want to talk about that, why that case interested me. It's one of the first cases that I covered when I relaunched this channel. So let's get to your guys' chat. First, let me start, before I even get to the super chats, let me just pick out a couple of cool tattoos that you guys are talking about here. So Lynn2574 said she got her first tattoo at 36 and a nose piercing at 47. That's badass.
Live your best life. I love that. It's like you can see when you get older that you're just like, I'm more comfortable being me now. I love it.
Yep. Yes.
I love that.
I love it. Bergen Zimmer says, I have 4 tattoos, a sailboat, a DNA double helix. Oh, that must be beautiful. A gay pride tattoo, and a sailing knot. Someone likes the water. Awesome. Beautiful. Laura said she fell asleep during all 4 of her tattoos. Cannot relate. You?
Cannot relate.
No, they hurt. I don't know what you're talking about.
I did this one, and this. These are hard to show on camera. And this one all at the same time, because my tattoo artist is in Vegas and I was not in Vegas. By the end, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But I was like, we're here. We're doing
You
it. And
just
he's
did
like,
it. You just
okay.
did it.
We just did it.
Wow, that is impressive.
It's a
The one
lot.
on my side, it's they're Ndinkra symbols, which
Mhm.
are I studied abroad in Ghana, and so they're like hieroglyphics kind of in a Ghanaian language, and each of them like has a different meaning, and it like makes a sentence, right?
Awesome.
And I love it. It's very beautiful, you know. But when it hit the ribs,
Uh-huh.
ow,
Yeah.
ow.
The ribs are
Everything on
rough.
soft tissue, like the belly and everything, that was fine. But on the ribs, so painful. Oh my gosh. I was like trying to run off the table. And that's probably why I haven't gotten one since then. And it's been
You're like, I still remember. I still remember. Yep.
okay. Banjo Bones Mama says, I have a tribal tramp stamp I got when I was 17. I'm 44 now. It's since been covered by peacock feathers.
Oh, wow.
I cover up that turned into an entire back piece. Currently have 10 tattoos. Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome. Um, Lara M says she has one tattoo on her wrist that she forgot about, but she looks younger than her age. So people point it out all the time, thinking I must have done it without permission. That's so cute.
That's adorable.
That's so cute, Laura M. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get to the super chats, which Mrs. Kick was kind enough to put on the back end for me so that I can see them. And as you guys know, Mrs. Kick is our lawyer, chicklet paralegal.
Oh, yeah.
She helps our channel to run and keeps me on track. So everyone thank Mrs. Kick for being there, judging you. And also, I'm going to just, before I start reading these super chats and shouting out the new members, please, guys, I have to lay out some ground rules for the moderators. We had an issue with one of the moderators in the last stream. It was brought to my attention. I am going to make this a blank slate. I hate to do this with Emily here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to make this.
What needs to be addressed? It's fine.
Yeah.
It's YouTube things. Do the YouTube things.
Gotta do it. I'm going to make this a blank slate. I'm not going to call out the person in particular or the other person who would affected, but I am aware of the situation. I don't want it to happen again. And that person, you're going to lose your moderator badge if you do that to that person again. We are not blocking people for having differences of opinion. We're not blocking people for cursing. I curse, you know. A lot of times I edit myself from cursing because that's what I do at work and in court anyway, but I don't care if other people curse. We're not blocking people for that, okay? We are only blocking people for racism, sexism, and homophobia. We're not blocking people for being Democrats. We're not blocking people for being Republicans. We're not blocking people for being Trump supporters or Biden supporters or Obama supporters. We're not doing any of that. That is not happening. Just because someone has a difference of opinion from you does not mean they get blocked or their comments deleted. And we are blocking trolls. So trolls are just people that are repeating the same comment over and over and over again. All you need to do is put it once. I go back and I read the stream and the chat afterwards always. So I'm going to see your comment even if you don't super chat. I just can't shout it out during the stream because then it would take up too much time. And I'm sorry to take up so much time with this right now. Moving on. Okay.
No, okay. Blocking people for being hateful is fair.
Yeah.
Differences of opinion aren't hateful.
Aren't hateful. No. So
No.
let's not do that. We can't wield the little wrench as like a way to like have our own little fiefdom. Let's not do that. Let's just be chill, guys. Hang out. Okay. So we have a new member. Her name is Joycey. She's a new member. And Gemma Martin is a new member. Welcome to the Lawyer Chicklets. Thank you very much.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yes. Yes,
I missed one. Kay Reese.
I see it.
Okay.
I got you told I read it out of turn. You were like, start here, and I didn't. So,
oh, I'm sorry.
I know. It's my mistake. Thank you.
Nah, we good.
Okay. Kay Reese is a new member. Welcome to the Lawyer Chicklets. Thank you so much. Laura Howard is a new member. Welcome to the Lawyer Chicklets. Creative Yarn Art. Angel Wood with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Creative Yarn Art. I enjoy seeing you both. Thank you. Appreciate that. Judy, you got this. $4.99 super chat. Thank you kindly. Just because I love your perspectives, your explanations, your experience. Y'all have taught this old lady a lot of new tricks. You are so kind. And she put a purple heart and a little baby chicklet.
I
Thank
love
you.
it.
Law Talk with Mike with the $5 super chat. Thanks again. Thank you, Law Talk with Mike. I was on his amazing channel earlier today for a great quick live stream. I think it was only on there for half an hour, but you know, we did an awesome reaction to, I think, Judge Simpson's court. And guys, go subscribe to Law Talk with Mike. You probably already are if you're here. He's amazing. Doc H with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Hi, all. Hey, Doc H. So glad I made it this time. My name was NS9131. I remember, but I finally figured out how to change it. Natalie, thanks for working with so many great YouTubers so we can experience maximum legal greatness. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ruby Rudy has been a member for 2 months. Gonna get my first tat on my 45th birthday in June. Yay.
Get it.
Fun. I'm all pro tattoos. I'm pro doing whatever you want with your body because this little vessel is so temporary. Enjoy it while you can, you know? Awesome. Mikanak, I hope I'm saying that right, has been a member for 2 months and they have 3 piercings. Go you. Okay. So I can handle tattoos, right? They're painful, but I can do them. I've only ever had my ears pierced, and then I attempted to get up here pierced, like a piercing that went through here, and I hated it. It was like that cartilage piercing, and it was like never like healed right, and it's put me off of piercings, and I was just like, no.
Cartilage piercings can be tough. I mean, I've got, let's see, I've got four down here on this side, 1, 2 up here, but these 2 have been fussy. I've got another one up here. I like the ear piercings. I at one point had my tongue pierced and loved it. And then I met my husband and we started dating. And Dr. B is a dental specialist. And every time he heard my tongue ring on my teeth, he was like, and I was like, well, I like you more than the tongue ring. Like, I'm more invested in you than the tongue ring. And I feel like it was a good call. It's worked out 20.
Yeah,
years later.
Dr. B over. I think you made the
We
right.
let the tongue ring was, it was, look, I had all of my 90s moments. I was going to pierce an eyebrow. Here's the thing. I was very worried, because I played water sports, that it would either pull out or push forward. And I didn't want to ruin my eyebrows. Like vanity.
No.
The brows are sacred.
And I feel like you will ruin it with that unless you can just keep it forever and it doesn't matter. My husband had an eyebrow piercing when he was younger and he still has like a little scar from it, but it's cute. It like, he looks like a little like evil.
I bet it's cute for him. I'm like, there's a few gray hairs in there. I'm like, this is unacceptable. Messing with my brows, like, stop.
The brows for the women, they're just very important. They've got to be shaped just right, and I can't risk it. I do like a good nose piercing, though. Some people
they're so cute.
Yes. My friend Leah has one, and it looks like she was, like, born with it. Like, she's so cute.
Yes, they're so cute.
Yeah, I love it.
I have very often been tempted. Nose piercings are adorable. One of my friends who's running for judge in LA has a nose piercing, and people half the time don't even notice it. But then when people notice it, they're like, oh my God, you have a nose piercing. She's like, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
It's like on your face, but the tiny ones are unobtrusive. I like them.
I like them too.
Okay. So, Starry Z. Hey, Starry Z. Nice to see you again. $5 super chat. What is your opinion on Cracker Barrel having to pay a man $9.4 million after serving him chemical water? Was the judgment fair?
Why are they serving him chemical water?
I want to know. Why is Cracker Barrel still open after serving someone chemical? What's chemical water?
I think I saw the headlines. I think it was some kind of a cleaner, like a cleaning solution or something. Here's the thing with decisions like that, if it goes to jury, a lot of times those are punitive damages where the jury hears it and is like, oh no, that's super fucked. Here's more money. So a lot of those judgments are jury verdicts that come in on punitive damages that are meant to dissuade the business from doing it again, because whatever they heard in testimony appalled them. And they were like, this wasn't, I don't know. was it an oopsie? Because for an oopsie, 9 million seems like a lot, but how is that an oopsie? Like, I feel like at restaurants, you have like the filling stations where you fill stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but like I feel like they don't have that at Cracker Barrel.
mhm.
They bring it to your table. I've never seen like the dispenser
No, but
thing
in the
with
back, wouldn't they have a dispenser for
Oh,
their
yeah,
drink
you're right.
in the
You're
back?
right.
Like, I don't know. I
Um,
didn't work food service. It always seemed like a nightmare to me. I worked retail.
I work retail as well. Yeah, no, I hate to say this, but I'm a little bougie. I think that's pretty clear. And to me, food service is a little gross. That's all. It has nothing to do. Like, shout out to everyone who works it. I am too squeamish for it. Like, I need to see like clothes, fashion. I want to touch the fabrics. That's what I wanted to do. I did not want to like see meat simmering on the like too much meat in one place. I don't like it. So I don't even like buffets. So I'm like squeamish about that type of stuff.
I worked very briefly as an EMT, and I am squeamish enough to realize that that was not the right job for me. I didn't enjoy going to the coroner's office. Like the first time you're like, oh, I'm a real DA now. But then you see them putting rods through people who've had bullet shot, and you're like, I'm out.
Nope.
I don't need to do this. Send me the reports.
I'm about to say the reports are fine. The
Send me the reports. They don't smell.
Are fine. I do not want to be in the room with a dead body.
Nope. Have you guys defense attorneys don't normally have the case assigned at that point.
No.
Reason for you to be at the coroner's office.
No. I had a forensic science internship when I was in college. And so we went to the coroner's office and I was like, I will never work anywhere that puts me in here ever again. I don't want to see nobody's frozen dead body ever again in life. And the photographs are fine. They don't bother me. Photographs are fine. Yeah. Visceral, physically being there. I'm good. No thanks. Hats off to the murder detectives who go out and see that stuff every single day. Because no thanks. No thank you.
There are things I can still smell. So yeah.
I think the 9.4 million is appropriate. Let's put it that.
I need to know more. I want to know more details, but I'm guessing it's punitive damages. I'm guessing the jury was like, "Oh, that's awful."
Or did they like hire some crazy serial killer guy that was like, "I'm going to kill this guy"?
I mean, vet your employees.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel like, how did chemicals get in my water?
Yep. Food services is hard enough. Like, yeah. You don't need people taking stuff out on the customers.
No.
People are awful though. And I've noticed as the pandemic has ramped up that people are just awful. It's not just at food service. Like I have a UPS box that I use for my business and everything. Nobody needs to know where I live, which is great.
Yeah.
And I was talking, like they had a bit of a line and I was like, are you glad Christmas season's done? She goes, it's return season. So they are stacked to the walls. And I'm like, totally get it. She's like, thanks for waiting. I'm like, I mean, you guys are busy. It's fine. She's like, people have been screaming at us for like 2 days. I'm like, because you're busy? That seems irrational. And she's like, well, people think they're going to be in and out of here in 3 minutes and don't account for the fact that there's a line. I'm like, I don't see how that's your problem. And I'm seeing a lot more of that lately.
I think that collectively everyone is losing their mind. Yeah.
Everybody's a little on edge.
Everyone's on edge. Yeah. Okay. So Judy, you got this. $4.99 super chat. Seed money for the Natalie and Emily show. Let's tell stories. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. We got seed money. We're ready.
That might be this show, the way that we're going. Okay. So
sorry,
I am going to tighten it up, Natalie. Come on, be a better host. Okay. Laura S. $4.99 super chat. Love hearing the stories. Thank you very much. I'm loving this conversation so much. I appreciate you. Matt Bond, Australian $5. Thank you so much. We're talking about tattoos here. I have Monkey and I holding hands as a cartoon. Monkey is your little girl. I remember Matt Bond. Hey, how you doing? Monkey with her first signature and a cartoon MJ with his signature. Number 3 is coming. Okay, awesome. Ruby Rudy with the $5 super chat. We have an attorney in LA who has blue hair all the time. I love her. She is such a sweetheart. Ruby Rudy works at the clerk's office.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think she's at Stanley Mosque. I think she is. I'm not 100%.
Well, the clerk's office is always a busy place. I worked at Stanley Mosque for a bit. They kept closing down the food in the building next over due to roaches. And so there was never anywhere to get lunch.
Oh, that's such a busy courthouse too. That's horrible.
I'm sure it's gotten better from the days when the Hall of Admin was getting closed down all the time. But I really enjoyed working at Stanley Mosque. I was a research attorney when I worked at Stanley Mosque, and our offices were a converted courtroom, and there were like 10 of us in there. It was wild. And we were on the family law floor. So when all of the big celebrity divorces and stuff were going on, they'd all be on our floor because we were on the family law floor. So it'd be interesting to be walking to work and being like, oh, there's famous people. That's one of the weird things about working in LA. Like, I ended up in an elevator with Lindsay Lohan's dad when she was in my court for preliminary hearing. And it's just so surreal having celebrities be part of your work. It's not something I ever considered because I was like, I don't want to do like media cases. I don't want the media to talk to me. So it was weird when it would happen.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, there's going to be celebrities in the LA courthouse. Duh. I've never thought about that.
And they show up on jury duty too. We had like, trainers for the Lakers and people who were, I think the most starstruck, and I'd seen a lot of celebrities, but the most starstruck I think I ever got was I had a juror pop up that was one of the leads of production for like Jersey Shore, and I could not control my shit. I have so many questions about Jersey Shore.
I know you love some reality TV.
I love reality TV. I love trashy reality TV. And I was like, I want to talk to this juror so badly. Like, I don't know if I can keep my chill. Like, I might have to dismiss you because I have no chill. But
tell me everything about Snooki, please.
Yes, tell me. She showed up. Iconic. Anyway. Yeah, LA was funny because we would get people that worked in Hollywood and people that worked in media and professors from UCLA, and it was a very diverse place to work.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Rudy with the $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Hey, Nat, just want to say, let's just all love each other and our differences. We are chiclets. Yes. Thank you very much, Rudy. And thank you for bringing it home. Another one from Rudy, $5. Thank you very much. Emily mentioned a friend running for LA County Judge. Who is it? I'd like to know who my new judges will be. Do you want to mention?
Oh, yeah, I mentioned it in the chat, but it's Abby Barron for Judge. She has a website called Barron for Judge. She prosecutes some of the crimes that I would never want to prosecute. She only prosecutes the worst things that are done to kids. She has a nose ring. She is hey, we need to hear both sides of everything that happened and then figure out what the appropriate thing to do is. I think she would be a tremendous judge. And I have a lot of colleagues who I look at and I'm like, ooh, not you. She will be a tremendous judge. So I'm excited. And I think we need more women on the bench anyway.
Yeah. It's so funny that she said that she prosecutes the things that you wouldn't want to do because, you're a prosecutor, you know what it's like. Those are the only things I would ever prosecute. Because I always say I would never be a prosecutor, defense attorney for life. I love it so much. I just love being a defense attorney, right? The only time I think I could ever cross to the other side would be to prosecute one of those cases. That's it.
And the thing for me is it pulled my emotions too much in. And it's very hard to see justice when your emotions are constantly pulled in. Absolutely. And so I had some look, I've got great kids, but especially when I was young, I'm like, I can't do these cases. And when I was rotating through juvenile, we did everything versus in when you get into the other superior courts in LA in the DA's office, a lot of things are, really serious gang cases, go to the gangs unit. Some of this has changed now because there's a new DA. Really serious domestic violence, go to the family violence unit. We had some specialized units that dealt with specialized, law enforcement on cases like that. And the same with the crimes, some of the crimes against kids. Her unit is fascinating because it works with social workers, mental health, court school, certain law enforcement that work in tandem with the hospital in Santa Monica. So they work in a collaborative prosecutorial environment to help figure out what happens with these cases. And she loves it. I don't think I could do it because I would be like, no, all the cases, no, all of you, all of you prison, all of the prison, not enough prison, everyone go to prison. And you can't approach prosecuting that way.
Yeah.
Some cases are worse than others. And I also didn't want to do our animal violence units. So I ended up doing a lot of I did a lot of the early days marijuana cases. I ended up, which I hated. I was like, this is so dumb. Let's legalize this. So I was dealing with the trafficking of, 150 pounds and 600 pounds of marijuana. And then I ended up doing a stint where I did mostly vehiculars, alcohol related vehiculars, and then homicides and gang attempted murders. And then I got to narrow down into the fraud space that I loved with embezzlement, money laundering, and tax evasion. And
the way that you have dug in on the Britney Spears case and the what's her name? Jen Shaw case. I don't know. Because I've seen good financial crimes prosecutors, gives me somewhat of like a peep into what you were like as a financial crimes prosecutor. You need that type of attention to detail to do that type of thing. Financial crimes defense drives me absolutely insane.
it's hard.
It takes all of my brain power to do it. I do it, I take whatever case comes my way, but God, they take so much time to defend because there's just so much discovery.
Yep. And I loved paper cases. Look, paper's not going to get on the stand and be like, look, bitch.
Yeah.
I got multicolored highlighters. I got subpoenas for bank accounts. I've got a guy who's money laundering, but then his girlfriend's using his bank account to pay for Match.com while he's in custody. The detective dropped that little tip on him. He had so much to say. And the thing is, when the detectives drop tips like that, then you get the jail calls after that happened. And so it's just, I'm nosy. I'm nosy at my core. In financial crimes, you see what everybody's up to, and you know how much law enforcement can get. They will get your whole life, everything.
Yeah. So don't do it, guys.
Don't do it.
Okay. So I think I've got 3 more super chats, and then we're gonna move right along. Christina Estrada, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Can we please get an EDB opinion on Mike McDonald? Oh my God. Yes. Okay. Next time that I get her on this channel, we definitely will.
Okay.
You have no idea what that is. I'm going to fill you in. You're going to love it.
I have no idea.
Yes. Christina Estrada. Absolutely. You're amazing. Thank you. Beth Kalos. I'm sorry if I say that wrong. Kallaus.
Me all the time.
$20 super chat. Had my eyeliner tattooed. Best decision ever. Oh, that's awesome. My older cousin, got her eyebrows tattooed. And this was before microblading was a thing, because she didn't grow eyebrows. I have there's half of my family that's hairy and another half that has no body hair. They just have head hair. I am on the hairy side, unfortunately. I have nothing but hair.
Your brows are amazing.
Thanks. Well, I come by them honest. And she tattooed on her eyebrows, and they look great. Some of the best eyebrows I've ever seen. And I think this is the last one that I'm going to read until I take a break, or else I'll be here forever. Devlin, $4.99 super chat. I was my husband's waitress. 21 years later, and I'm still glad for that job, even if the job sucked.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You know who else was her husband's waitress? Erica Girardi. That's how Erica Girardi and Tom Girardi met.
Is it really?
Yep.
I didn't. Oh gosh, I learned. Okay, I could get so sidetracked.
I'm a housewives expert, but we need to talk about Cardi B.
Cardi B versus Tasha K. All righty. So, Mrs. Kick, if you could pull up our new banner on that, you're awesome. You're awesome. We have an extra E there on the lawsuit, but that's fine. We'll just rock with it. All right. So, I am going to start with a little bit of the actual complaint itself. Is that okay? Just to give a little bit of background. Okay.
A little bit of backstory, a little bit of context.
Yeah. Awesome. And I pulled, I think your 20-minute video that you did on it, as well as my 30-minute video. Obviously, I just want to show a little quick snippet of yours and mine. Sure. And then we can just off the races start talking. So Mrs. Kick, it's under defamation lawsuit, digitalmusicnews.com in the chat.
Work. All the production value.
We try to, prep, get ourselves together and everything like that.
All right, here we go. Let me copy the link. Be right with you.
Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah. So while we're talking about that and actually pulling up the defamation lawsuit, I think let's just have this being you just jump in wherever you think you fit in. But from my recollection of it, when I covered it last year, we all know Cardi B is a multi-Grammy award winning millionaire selling rap artist who has also branched out into other areas like a Reebok deal and things like that. So she has a reputation to uphold because she has celebrity endorsements, thank you, and all that other type of stuff. So what happened with Cardi B is that, okay, we're jumping around here. I like it. So what happened with Cardi B is that she she got on the radar of this celebrity blogger by the name of Tasha K, who is here on YouTube. So that's it. You got it. She's a celebrity blogger here on YouTube by the name of Tasha K. And she gets like millions of views on some of her videos. And she covers a lot of like urban media. So, you know, the rappers, the singers, the athletes, like people that are within the hip hop space. She covers a lot of those types of people. And initially, one of the first videos I ever pulled of Tasha K on Cardi B, she was actually very complimentary of Cardi B. I don't know if you know this or not. So like she like actually liked her and was like quoting her music and seemed to be kind of like a fan. And then that video didn't get that many views. But then this young lady by the name of I think Star something, I can't remember it now.
Stormy Jones.
There we go.
The former co-defendant.
The original co-defendant.
Original co-defendant, yeah.
Yeah. Star Marie Jones, who was a former friend, allegedly, of Cardi B, said that she used to be a stripper with Cardi B, who was a stripper in a former life, that they were roommates at one point in time, and she had all this tea on Cardi B. She does an interview on Tasha K's channel, which I find that whole part very interesting, because if someone says libelous, slanderous things on your YouTube channel and you don't know that they're libelous and slanderous, are you really liable for that, right?
I thought.
Well, it kind of went above and beyond that, because first, Star Marie makes all these allegations about Cardi B, using drugs, having certain diseases, things like that. And Tasha K just does the interview, somewhat straightforward. Oh, this is what you saw. This is what you heard. This is what you observed, so on and so forth. Tasha K then basically picks up the mantle of the allegations made by Star Marie Jones and makes multiple other videos of Star Marie, basically about Cardi B, alleging that she had herpes, saying that she was formerly a prostitute, and making allegations that Cardi B's child was going to be born, her first child, Culture, was going to be born with intellectual disabilities because of Cardi B's purported former or present lifestyle. Cardi B sued Tasha K, who is Latasha Transrena Kebby, and Star Marie Jones. Star Marie was eventually dropped from the lawsuit. I would love to know if you have an opinion on why Star Marie was dropped from the lawsuit, because I have an opinion on that, but I was wondering if you have an opinion on that.
I just wondered if they settled.
That's what I thought happened.
I assumed that she probably apologized and was like, I will never say it again. Because what I know from reports and stuff I've looked at is that right when that video happened, Cardi B reached out directly to Tasha K and was like, this isn't true. I don't know her. And Tasha K was like, do you want to come on my channel and do an interview about it? And Cardi B said no. And then Tasha K was like, all right, herpes B, we're off to the races. And just fired it up from there. I wonder if Starmy took a different approach and was like, I'm sorry, I will never say anything again. And there's a private settlement agreement, and it just dropped.
I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think there was, because there wasn't a public retraction from Star Marie. Obviously, Star Marie is the less moneyed individual. Okay, so I did some research on Star Marie in my original video. It seems allegedly that she had some criminal history, some issues along that, area herself, with some what looks like she herself has some convictions for prostitution.
Right.
So she might not have had the funds to be able to even fight Cardi B. So she might have laid down, right? Yep. And Cardi B might have thought that it wasn't advantageous to really pursue her.
She could have also shared text messages between her and Tasha K, conversations, retelling of conversations, to help Cardi B know where to look and know what else might be out there, and help her case. That might have been part of a settlement. It often is in civil cases, like, or not even that, in like criminal cases too. It's like, let me give you the information that I have. Please just let me go away.
Alone. Yeah, leave me alone. Let me go away.
Here you go. You want
I'm
that
a
person? Go get
smaller
him.
fish. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So I thought that Star Marie might end up being a witness in the case, but it doesn't seem like that's happened so far. So maybe she won't. Okay. So if we just go down a little bit on the lawsuit itself.
Tasha K could still call her. I just don't see at this point if she will, because the Cardi B side is rested now.
Yeah, Cardi B side is rested, and I just don't think it's a good idea for her to call her.
There's no reason for Tasha K to call her.
No, absolutely not. We can go down to where it says like facts, just so people can get a taste of that. Jurisdiction and venue, we can keep going. Facts and background. Okay, so a lot of this had to do with the allegations that she was making about, her motherhood, her health status, things of that nature. Tasha K responded to the lawsuit not only in just saying, "Hey, I respond. I agree with these allegations, disagree with these other allegations." Right? Tasha K responded with her own countersuit. And in her countersuit, she alleged that Cardi B set her fans upon her to threaten her and harass her. And so she was seeking how many millions of dollars from Cardi B?
I don't remember. It was millions.
Yeah, it was millions of dollars she was seeking. And I don't think I got to that part in my video, but let me just say that was a frivolous countersuit, in my opinion.
The judge went, yeet, and then yelled at her lawyers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. As the judge should have. I mean, just like,
and keeps doing.
It's Tasha K has a really, really bad position. And okay, so if we're gonna talk facts here, let's go to the first YouTube video that I put on my channel. It's the first YouTube video in the chat, Mrs. Kick. There's a couple of minutes in there where I cover the things that Tasha K said about Cardi B, and it'll kind of help you guys to get the context. Some of you probably already know this, but I went and grabbed a lot of the stuff that Tasha K put up before she deleted it, because it was like just happening and she was starting to delete stuff. Because at first she said, "I'm not deleting anything," but then the lawsuit really revved up and she started to delete stuff. Okay. There is alrighty. There you go. You can skip forward, and once you start to see Tasha moving on the screen, right? I think that was it right there. Hold on. Go forward a bit. I'm sorry. I should have had the exact timestamp, but I lost it in my notes. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Okay. Just go back and hit play from there, because I think
in a civil lawsuit out of the state of California, where I was
accused pre-braces.
And I ended up representing myself in that case pro se, which is not
you cannot pause that. No, I was saying, like, go like
Do you have video clips in here of Tasha K? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I have video clips of Tasha K, and I'm trying to find them. Keep going, Mrs. Kick. Yeah, go past that. That's where I was getting to Star Marie Jones. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Okay. I think you might have. Okay. I just saw her pop up on this. It's right there. Okay, click from there. Great. So just go forward a little bit
of the statement. Here are the facts and allegations that were alleged by Cardi B that have led to this lawsuit. Now, remember, these are just allegations. Where I was able to pull up supporting evidence of these allegations, I have provided it either in the description box or this video itself. She filed this lawsuit in June of 2018, And then later on in December of 2020, she amended it to add more allegations. I'm going to be talking about the allegations contained in both the original complaint and the amended complaint. This is on April 23rd of 2018, Tasha K posted a video and stated that the plaintiff's unborn child may be born with intellectual disabilities.
You need to take care of that baby because that baby come out with Down syndrome, and I'm already worried about if the baby gonna be able to talk. Well, both of her parents not speaking English, even though they were raised in an English country, and I don't understand why they don't speak English.
Now, Cardi B may have a harder time proving that this statement was either libelous or slanderous or defamation or false light, because this statement was likely a matter of opinion. Tasha K was saying that because of Cardi B's actions, the context of performing and traveling and touring, she was putting her baby at risk. Her baby had not yet been born at this point in time. Whether or not this statement was so outrageous to have caused intentional infliction of emotional distress is a completely different story. But that is how the law applies to this statement. And if it was a statement of opinion, no matter how offensive, Cardi B will not be able to recover based on this statement for any of the defamation type claims, but she potentially will be able to recover for the intentional infliction of emotional distress.
On September 2nd, 2018, Tasha K posted a YouTube video in which Tasha K alleged that Cardi B, quote, prostituted for a living.
So disclaimer, this video has been removed from Tasha K's YouTube channel. However, Cardi B's attorney states that they have a copy of the video and they provided it in discovery, and it's at the 5-minute and 50-second timestamp. We don't have access to that because it's been sealed. Now, applying the law to the facts, and this will come up quite frequently in this statement of facts, the allegation that Cardi B is or was a prostitute is arguably a statement of fact and not an opinion. Just because Cardi B used to be a stripper, which is a legal activity, does not mean that she was a prostitute, which is an illegal activity and arguably by society standards far more immoral. So when Tasha K repeatedly says that Cardi B is a prostitute, as you'll see later on in this video, a judge or jury could find that she is making statements of fact. And then it is Cardi B's job to prove that she was not or is not a prostitute because it's her lawsuit.
On September 13th, 2018, Star Marie Jones posted an Instagram live video making the statement that the plaintiff, Cardi B, has, quote, got herpes.
And the fact that she got herpes, that's out too.
Now, this statement by Star Marie would be actionable if, in fact, it's not true that Cardi B has herpes. And
Pause
this
it there,
would
Mrs. Kick.
qualify as slander.
So, as Emily knows, Cardi B actually had her medical records disclosed in the case, which proved that
she does not, in fact, have herpes.
So
but this could have been avoided before trial because the medical records got sent to the court, and the judge reviewed them and says, I've reviewed them and find nothing helpful to the defense, and encouraged the defense again to try to settle. The judge has tried to encourage the defense to settle time after time after time, just from the minute orders and rulings. I can't imagine that's on the record, in the written record. I can't imagine what the court was saying in court, because that's not on paper. It's like, you should consider settling. In court, that's a counsel. WTF, you need to consider settling.
For the court to even say that on the record where everyone can see it is so significant, guys.
Yeah.
The judge might wink, wink, nod, nod in chambers, or ask you to approach and say, what's really going on here?
What is up?
What's going on?
Why can't we settle this?
But
What's
to put it
take
on the record
multiple times.
Guys, this is when I made this part 1, I thought, oh, I'm going to definitely have a part 2 to this. But as I was going through it and listening to the different video clips, I was like, well, there's no case here for the, and this is before.
You're like, this isn't going to trial.
could not believe it went to trial.
Mhm.
And then after it got disclosed to the public that Cardi B actually got her medical records to prove she didn't have herpes, which to be fair, I didn't think that was even going to happen because herpes is such a common thing. So
Right.
like I was like, who's going to put out their herpes status? But she was adamant, I don't have herpes. And guess what? She didn't. You can't do that. You cannot, because that's not a statement of opinion. Okay, so this is where I think some reasonable minds could disagree with me. Where originally my opinion was, when you say the things about the kid, they're distasteful, they're gross, but the kid's not here yet. And so I think the things that you're doing are going to harm your unborn fetus. Having a bunch of performances and dancing a lot and being on tour and living a rock star lifestyle or a rapper's lifestyle, that's bad for an unborn baby. I think that's BS, but that's that person's opinion. The child is not here yet, so it's just an opinion. Now if the child was here and you're looking like that child has Down syndrome and the child
That's
doesn't,
right. Yep.
that's different, but something that's going to happen in the future, I think that that's a fine distinction you can make, that that's a statement of opinion. And because the courts are, and again, I'll talk, I think at the end about this, my personal experience, but the courts are so pro First Amendment. They're so
Yep.
pro you being able to have an opinion on something, no matter how distasteful. That's what a lot of the Supreme Court case law says, that they likely wouldn't have punished her for saying that. But saying a factual statement that someone has a disease, a communicable sexually transmitted disease, without proof that that is true, that's pushing up on a statement of opinion.
I was shocked in Cardi B's testimony when she talked about to this day, she still gets called herpes B, because Tasha K tried to get hashtag herpes B trending. She would hashtag it when she would talk about it. So it wasn't just this person was on my show, they made this allegation, they said this. It wasn't a re-reporting. She took it and ran it into the ground. And I think in Cardi B's testimony and in the court records, they talk about sending Tasha K 3 cease and desists.
Yes.
And Cardi B reached out personally.
Yes.
So it's not as if it's like, oh, it seems extreme to go to trial. They did I don't know what else you do as a plaintiff.
No, I mean, I know that right up until the moment they went to trial, she tried to settle it with her.
I'm sure.
And I think for Tasha K, she's done some type of cost benefit analysis, which I think is incorrect, where she believes that the publicity of this, the eyes on her YouTube channel far, outweighs the drawback of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit.
I don't know how that works.
Because you can't have good reasoning saying someone has an STD and using that as your marketing for your channel. Anyway.
Well, we'll get to what she said in court, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Yes, no, because that's really where I want you to soar, please.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So let's keep going. I love your analysis. I'm with you on all of this.
Okay, let's keep going. This is high praise. Okay, let's keep going.
Because it is alleging that Cardi B has some type of contagious disorder, which is objectionable to the general public. It's right in the statute. So Cardi B has to prove that the statement is not true. Then she has to prove that Star Marie made these comments with a reckless disregard for the truth, because Cardi B is a celebrity. So she has to prove that actual additional portion.
End quote. The more Molly pills she would be taking, the more cocaine she would be taking. End quote.
The more Molly pills she would be taking, the more cocaine she'd be taking.
And also, quote, I guess they were supposed to have sex in exchange for money. End quote. Alleging that Cardi B was a prostitute.
Yes, they were supposed to have exchange sex for money.
On September 13th of 2018, to the following written comments saying that Cardi B was, quote, just a Grammy-nominated prostitute running around spreading herpes.
Jesus Christ.
I could not independently verify this because Star Marie has completely scrubbed her Instagram and almost all of her social media presence. She's taken almost everything down.
Right. Star Marie got off of
the law
Instagram.
to the facts. All of these
Smart.
allegations are arguably allegations of fact instead of allegations of opinion, that Cardi B was a prostitute, that Cardi B took drugs, and that Cardi B had contagious diseases. All of these fall under the slander statute, spoken libel, to show that the person has some type of contagious disorder or immoral issue. And if Cardi B can show that they're not true, she would prevail on her claim.
I'm
Now let's
wondering.
get
Oh,
into
sorry.
the
Oh,
Tasha K and
I'm
Star
just wondering
Lee
how long before
interview.
saying somebody has
It
herpes is
really
no longer considered immoral. You know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like we're on the cusp of that being
I
so
hope
common
so.
that it shouldn't be something that is so distasteful, but then
Yeah.
again, I can understand why some people are like, "You can't just accuse me of having an STD."
Yeah,
Like, and where do you draw the line between which STDs are okay to say someone has and which ones are not? But
right.
I
I guess
feel
maybe
like
none.
I feel like the case law in this area is gonna start to shift.
I think so because, and it's not only case law. It's like Georgia. What I was quoting from is that Georgia has, and Cardi noted it in her lawsuit. Georgia has a statute on libel and slander that has a particular set aside for making statements about someone having a communicable disease
Yep.
or some type of moral failing. California doesn't have that, right? So
Yeah.
these more like conservative states are like, you can't say somebody has some type of disease.
Right. Or somebody's cheated on their spouse or something like that,
Yeah.
because that's where you get into these moral failings. And I get it in the Bible about why that might
Yeah.
matter differently. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that Cardi B saw herself as a devout Catholic until I was reading about her testimony, because she was like, "No, this is why all of this hurt me so much."
Yes.
Um,
It,
I had
it
no idea.
the fact that she cried, we don't see celebrities as people a lot of the time. So,
Especially
you
when they
know,
have a badass persona. I mean,
yeah,
Cardi B has a badass persona.
she does.
Still
She
a
does.
human with a heart.
But we have to, there's the persona, but then if you look at how she actually lives her life,
Yep.
she's a married woman with children.
Yep. And seems to deeply care about her community and love her family. I
Yeah.
mean, she's trending today. I couldn't find anything on court today because
Mhm.
she offered to pay for all of the victims of the fire in the Bronx
I
today.
know. I
And
saw
so
that.
she's in the middle of this trial that's caused her significant emotional distress. And she's like, right, but what about them?
Yeah.
That says a lot to me
So,
about someone.
yeah, you're not going to look too good to the jury when this person's like, yeah, look, I know that for my job, I dance in skimpy clothes. I get it, but I'm a mom and a wife.
Mhm.
And when I go home, I live a pretty normal life. And I don't want people saying I have herpes
Yep.
or that I'm a prostitute.
Yep.
Now, the
Or that I
judge,
do coke, or that I
yeah,
do Molly, or that I do drugs. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, now, to be fair, because I know someone's going to watch this one day and say, she admitted to drugging men, right? Those are not a part of these
nope.
allegations. Tasha K's Cardi B's lawsuit does not say Tasha K said that I drugged men, and that's a lie. Because if Tasha K has ever said that, it couldn't be part of the lawsuit because Cardi B said,
Yep.
whether jokingly or not, she's since said it. She was joking. She wasn't being serious. Whatever the case may be, people can take you at your word. That's the risk of speaking out in public. That I would get guys drunk, slip a little something in their drink, and then steal their stuff. Right? That's what she said. She now says that's not true. So she couldn't sue anyone for re-saying the things that she said about herself. But what is a part of the lawsuit are instances in which she said, I never said that about myself. This is someone else saying this about me, and it's actually not true.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, on the motion for summary judgment, where the judge dismissed Tasha K's countersuit, he said he could not dismiss as to the claims of prostitution because of things that Cardi has said in the past. A jury could believe
Yep.
that she had been a prostitute, or could believe that she held herself out to have been a prostitute. I think that could be the stripper stuff. Because I don't think she's ever said I used to be a prostitute. I think she called herself a stripper hoe, right?
Right. And it's like, could a jury decide on fact if she had ever said, like, I was getting with, I don't know if she did, but getting with people for their money or whatever,
Yeah.
how does somebody interpret that?
Yeah.
One way or the other. Do you interpret that as choosing to be with someone because they're wealthy versus choosing to be with someone because they're ripped or attractive?
Mhm.
Or could it be taken as she's actually selling herself for money and in the
Right.
legal way? So
Right.
I can see why the judge said maybe there's a factual determination here.
Right.
I think once the jury watches all these videos from Tasha K, they're going to be like, no, I'm horrified by what you said. Tasha K's testimony is horrible for her. And the jury's going to be like, I can't stand you. And
Yeah.
I feel for Cardi B.
She's so, and she's so, and within this, Tasha K comes, I'm not saying Tasha K is a person because I don't know her at all. But in this lawsuit, in the things that she said about Cardi B that, I detailed throughout this whole video,
Yep.
it's so mean that you're not going to come across well when you're the mean guy, the bad guy, the antagonist. It's going to be really, really hard for you to come across well for a jury. And so you're going to hope that a judge will give it to you in summary judgment and say, this is all protected by the First Amendment. And he didn't.
He did not.
He didn't. So now you're in a really precarious position.
Yep.
Mrs. Kick, we're just going to play a couple more minutes of this, and then I'd love to move on to Emily's recitation or remembrance of the testimony thus far. Just a few more minutes of this.
Set this entire lawsuit off.
Garnered 3 million views on YouTube. In the interview, and I've watched the interview, it's online, and I will provide a screenshot of it here. Tasha K asked Star Marie Jones, you said that Cardi B prostituted herself? Answer, yes. Was she a drug user? Yes. Cocaine and Molly, to be specific? Yes. She has herpes? Yes. So you were living with her at the time and she had herpes outbreaks in her mouth? Yes.
So there was a lot that you spilled. You said that Cardi B prostituted.
Yes.
She was a drug user.
Yes.
Cocaine and Molly, to be specific.
Yes.
Okay. She has herpes.
Yes.
All right.
Now, I don't want to get too much into Tasha K's defenses, but at this particular time, this interview more implicates Star Marie Jones than it does Tasha K. Because if Star Marie knows that her statements are false, it doesn't necessarily mean that Tasha K knows that the statements are false. So at this point, for these particular statements, Tasha K, who is publishing the statements, would have a defense that the statement publication was not malicious because she did not know that it was false. But there will be some additional information forthcoming which might defeat that potential defense.
Okay, we can pause
There
there.
is also a question.
So obviously the additional information that came out, which was that Cardi B reached out to her and said, this is not real. Please retract. Please stop saying this. And she kept saying it, not just like didn't take it down, kept saying it afterwards. Before we get to you, Emily, I just want to address something that was in the chat, because I want to make sure that people are clear on this. And that's the good thing about a live stream.
Love that about a live stream.
Yeah, this is what, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that I am not endorsing, if Cardi B did in fact drug men and steal their money, I'm not endorsing that. And if she did that, she should have, paid for that, within the law, within the statute of limitations. What I'm saying is that just because someone commits a crime or admits to committing a crime or does something immoral does not mean that they lose the right to the protections of the law. And you don't have the right to slander that person. And that's something we have to all be careful of. Like, just because you may not like a person doesn't mean that you can say things about them that are knowingly false and defamatory and slanderous. Like, you have to be very careful about that type of stuff. Stick to the facts. Like Cardi B said she drugged and stole from men. Then, that's bad enough in and of itself.
I mean, there's stuff there to work with. If you want to talk shit on Cardi B, there's stuff there to work with.
Yeah.
She said things and Cardi B pops off on social media.
Yes.
Pull from the stuff she said, pull from the stuff she's done. But just because she's said and done stuff doesn't mean you get to defame her.
No, exactly. And it doesn't mean, like, for example, I don't agree with the things that Tasha K said about Cardi B. It doesn't mean that I get to defame Tasha K. You know what I'm saying? Like, make up things about her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get to do that. She deserves the same protection under the law that we all deserve, to not have people defame our character in public. So that's all I'm trying to say, guys. And also, please, because I can almost see it. Do not block anybody that does not like Cardi B. That is okay. They can dislike Cardi B.
Yep, exactly. I mean, Cardi B has picked fights with me. There's stuff Cardi B does. That's fine. Still don't get to defame somebody. There are plenty of media personalities I don't like. But you can still say, no, what's happening to that person's wrong. And I think that's something that's missing right now. It's like standing up, like Ethan Klein. I talk about his lawsuit a lot. There are things he says on his YouTube channel, jokes that he's made. There are things that he said that are horrible. I don't agree with. However, it doesn't mean the lawsuit against him is okay, proper, or right. And both of those things can exist at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. And there's no HIPAA violation. So if in fact Cardi B did have herpes, and that was not a lie that Tasha K was telling, like an outright, she knew it was a lie because Cardi repeatedly told her and disclosed her test results to her before the case went to trial, but she would not retract and she would not settle. Oh, sweetums.
Fred is just dying for attention. And
I
is going
saw his tail
on me until he gets attention.
Oh,
he's going to knock things over. He's going to bounce. As you see my mic moving, it's because he's banging it with his head. He's like, now I need attention now.
Yes. Yeah. So just because you know, I lost my train of thought because I love the cat. But either way, HIPAA.
Yep.
There's someone else finding out about your health status that is not a healthcare worker that treated you and telling that to other people is not a HIPAA violation. HIPAA only applies to healthcare workers who treat you. They cannot disclose your medical status and information without your consent, your prior written consent, okay?
The nurses at UCLA who disclosed some of Britney's documents when she was on a 5150 hold, that's a violation. Somebody who happens to be at the hospital and walks by and sees Britney Spears and is like, Britney's at the hospital, not a violation.
Not a violation. Perfectly said. Thank you. So I just wanted to make sure that we cleared that up because I forgot that whenever you say anything about healthcare, HIPAA comes up. And HIPAA is wildly
doesn't apply here. And Cardi B didn't have to disclose her medical records. She could have just testified. She could have just said, I don't have herpes. It's not going to be as strong for her case. So she brought in a doctor who I think is her psychologist or psychiatrist, but I believe she disclosed those records as part of, they were listed on her like 1,000+ document listing their exhibits.
Yes. Awesome.
Oh God, no purple hair. This is old.
Yeah.
I don't even have my chair in the background yet. This is old. Like I was still rearranging my office old.
Yeah. So
blast from the past.
But you covered it like so succinctly and so well. So that's why I pulled that one up. But before we get to that, I would just love to, if you can update us on the testimony that we have had thus far.
Oh, do you want to get into all of it?
Please
make us big because I want to see your reaction. If you don't mind, I want to see your reaction to some of this. Okay. So do you want to talk about Cardi or Tasha K first?
Cardi first. Cardi testified first, right?
Cardi testified. Well, Tasha K testified first.
Oh, Cardi called her.
The Cardi B called Tasha K, and I believe they called her to start establishing foundation for the videos that they were going to use in their case.
Because so they were her videos.
Yep, they were her videos, not a criminal trial. So the attorneys do opening statements, and then Cardi B's lawyers look over and go, our first witness is Tasha K. Get on up there, boo. We got some questions.
Oh, I know they didn't see that coming. Go for it. Go.
I know they didn't see those coming. So let me pull up. I'm using some of an article so I don't mess anything up that comes from Law 360, and I love them. Tasha K said on the stand that I knew that shit was fake. I wanted the money. This is my business. This is called ratings. Lying about Cardi B is my business. Girl. Yep.
Wait, hold on. Give me a second, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the first time she said that, Emily.
I don't think it is the first time she said that. I think it's in a video as well.
I got it in my video. I knew the shit was fake.
So I don't think she can get around it. She also said they brought the Instagram post up where she said, keep sending lies. I'll watch them too.
Yes.
But they asked her why she was doing this. And she said, I have an agency that's watching me. They want to see good numbers every month. All of this is publicity. This is fun for me. They brought up the fact that.
Wait a minute.
No! Where'd she go?
Serious? No.
But we're getting so juicy.
Are you serious right now? Where is she? Okay. What's happening?
She's frozen.
She's frozen.
Uh-oh.
What? I hear something. Emily, we heard a little bit, but you're gone. Yes.
There you go.
You listen.
I was trying to figure out what happened. I was like, what happened?
I almost like jumped out of my skin. I was like on tenterhooks listening to you.
I didn't know what happened. I was like, what happened? What happened? I'm worried that my cat has done something wrong and like unplugged something. So like, because that would happen. So
oh yeah.
Tasha K did not do herself any favors in the videos she's put out or in her testimony. I will say to her credit, she was honest. And she knew these things were in videos. She didn't seem to try to explain them. She seemed to say, I said that. And this is again, when she's on the stand again now, and maybe now she's going to be explaining it with her lawyers doing the direct examination. But this was Cardi B's lawyers doing the direct examination. They're paused because there's an evidentiary issue, and I will get into that in a minute. But so she really went there. The article, the reporting from those in the courtroom said that Tasha K got in hot water while answering questions from Cardi's counsel because she was not answering yes or no, and they were treating her as a hostile witness. And the court said, I'm really getting tired of you doing that. Don't do it again. It's not helpful to anybody. It delays the trial. It sometimes causes an objection to be made, and it causes me to be concerned. So don't do it. So she was already getting admonished to the judge. Then
in front of the jury.
Then the judge warned her attorneys about motioning at her while she was on the stand. The judge said, I've seen you at times shaking your head yes and no. To the extent it's unintentional, I need you to be more aware. So had to admonish her attorneys who were being like, right. Her attorneys are not done getting in hot water. They're not.
I'm sorry. I have to, because it's something you said before when she said this makes so much sense now, because the thing that has been really needling at me, number one, why hasn't she settled?
Right.
She's crazy. This is a terrible case for her. If she loses on one of the allegations, she's paying money.
Which she will.
Yeah. And it'll at least be the herpes one. It could also be the prostitution one.
I think the IIED claim.
The
IIED is a slam dunk with, not just that, with also they're almost going with like a harassment being called herpes B, and how much stress the constant defamation caused her. And then the false light, I think, is stronger maybe too than the defamation. So on those, I mean, even if she won, even if in a weird scenario she won the defamation, she's going to lose the IIED and the false light, and she's going to pay.
IIED, intentional infliction of emotional distress. There's no way that she doesn't, because she has said before, I can't believe she testified to this. I knew the shit was fake. It's in my video, guys. Go find it. It's like towards the end. I had the audio clip of it. I knew the shit was fake, but it gets ratings. Okay, so the questions I had to myself, why are you doing this? Why don't you settle this case? And number two, how is she affording the defense for this? Because she doesn't have a lawsuit anymore. So it's not a contingency fee. She has to pay these people, right? If she had a lawsuit still and they're like, okay, we don't need payment because we know you're going to win your lawsuit. You don't need to put anything down. We're going to get some money from that, right? We'll take the risk. There's no way in this case. They took a retainer from her. They have billable hours. She's paying them, right? How is she a YouTuber? Now, granted, a very successful YouTuber, right? But a YouTuber nonetheless, affording to pay for this defense in this against a multi-millionaire. She could be a single millionaire for all I know. She could be a really high thousandaire. I don't know. But she ain't got enough money to defend herself against Cardi B. She has a company. She has a management company that is taking a percentage of her money. And they have probably paid for this for her. That is
could have insurance as well.
Okay, she could have that.
Possibly. But she said, this was from a post that they brought up. I have an agency watching me. This is all publicity. And it's possible that they're helping her in this, saying, fight for your content.
It has to be. It has to be. And they have to think that the amount of eyes that will go on her videos on YouTube will be worth it. It'll pay off in the end. Sure, we'll pay this, no big deal. She'll move on to the next scandal. She'll get millions of views. Her name is in the national. This has to be it, because I can't see why you wouldn't settle this case and how you're affording this defense. I just can't see it otherwise. I don't even think that the attorneys on an insurance plan would take on a case of this nature.
Maybe not. She told the jurors that she thinks it's funny to say that people have sexually transmitted infections, including AIDS, and says that if they were reckless in becoming infected, then that's fine.
Say it again, Emily.
The reports say Tasha K told jurors she thinks it's funny to say that people have sexually transmitted infections, even AIDS, particularly if they were reckless in becoming infected.
But if it's not true, then they weren't reckless in becoming infected.
Correct. And you're reckless in saying it.
And how much are you offending the people on the jury? You don't know what their status is, or their loved one's status are. They can have.
It's really this kind of modern day slut shaming of like, oh, well, Cardi B's persona is this, so of course she has STDs. Like, it's this whole. It kind of puts a picture around how she sees other women. I think
she must have it. She has to have it because I say so. Horrible. Keep going.
Yep, horrible. So, and then she gets in trouble with the judge, and that's really the end of that. But they're in more trouble because the trial had to pause for evidence review yesterday, and there are no updates from today because today was Brittany's day in court, so I'm not surprised. But the defense, it looks like, was trying to pull some stuff up that might violate the pretrial orders.
Ooh.
The judge told Tasha K's lawyers to outline all the evidence they plan to introduce in the trial before they left court Tuesday so Cardi B's team could review it. And the court said, frankly, quote, frankly, it's remarkable to me that we've reached a point where we are mid-trial during the defendant's case, and I've got to have the defendant tell us exactly what it wants to introduce, the judge said from the bench after the jury was excused. Defense counsel is asking plaintiff to tell them what's in there that's objectionable. Come on, that's not the way this works.
No.
The judge continued to tell Tasha K's lawyers, the judge said that if Tasha K's lawyers had expressed any degree of certainty that none of the defense evidence violates the pretrial order, he would have let them continue to introduce the video and audio exhibits. But he said that the attorneys for Tasha K wanted Cardi B's lawyers to instead point out anything that violated the orders.
No. That's not
how that works. The judge said, maybe you don't care because if it comes in, the plaintiff is left making the decision about whether they want a mistrial or an instruction to the jury to disregard the bad stuff, the judge told the attorneys. I want all the material you intend to play with as much specificity as required, given to the plaintiff so the plaintiff can review it. And then the court was delayed today.
Wow.
So the attorneys are trying to pull something, and the court is not happy. Cardi B's testimony was actually really sad because she talks about the fact that she wanted to take her own life, that she was having anxiety attacks, and really that she was having PTSD from being cyberbullied and cyber harassed, and that in the first time in her life, and she outlines, like, I grew up in the Bronx, I grew up poor, I was beaten up by boyfriends, I had no money, I worked at a restaurant, I got fired for coming late to work, like hashtag relatable. And the manager at work was like, you keep showing up late, so we're going to fire you. So maybe you should go dance across the street. And literally was like, maybe you should go try out across there. I don't know if they care if you're late. And that's when she started dancing. And so she lines out her life and all of the things she's overcome, the bad relationships, the rise to fame. And she's like, this brought me literally to my knees. This is when I, didn't think I deserved my daughter, was worried that I had hurt her, and needed therapy and needed help. And it was really, really relatable testimony about someone who's being bullied. And then she talked about how hard it was to be in the courtroom rewatching these videos of Tasha K that are now evidence. Did you hear about the juror that got excused?
No, I did not. Oh my God.
At the end of last week, one of the jurors could not help herself but to talk about the case with the other jurors. Had to do a little chitty chat.
You cannot do that, guys.
Every day, the judge says you cannot discuss the case with anyone until all the evidence is in and the arguments are done and jury instructions are read. You cannot talk to anyone. She was talking about how horrible she thought the Tasha K videos were and how appalled she was by Tasha K. And the judge said, I'm not worried essentially about what she said. I'm worried that she didn't follow my instructions.
Right.
And that's the problem. So let me read exactly what the judge said.
That's very telling, though.
Yes.
That you're not worried about what she said. You know what he's saying? He's like, we all think what she said was horrible and disgusting.
His quote was, the juror was obviously disturbed by either the fact that the child was in the home when the defendant was engaging in the type of language that she was using in the video that they were watching,
Yeah.
which is obviously pretty typical of her performances, or possibly that she dealt with her child in the manner that she did. The judge said, well, the jurors were out of the room. The judge then said, like probably everyone who heard that video felt that way.
That's
So
what I said.
telling the attorneys,
Yeah.
all the jurors feel this way, but the problem is that this juror talked about it. And because this juror talked about it, the judge let that juror go for not following the instructions. But the judge was telling the defense, everybody thinks that video is shit. Apparently,
what
she's
is
yelling
that?
at her child in the video. She's talking shit on Cardi B and then yelling at her kid while drinking. Here, I'll give you the description of the video.
Please.
In the video, Tasha K appeared to be drinking wine at home during the day while her daughter was in the next room doing her schoolwork remotely, and she was heard speaking harshly to the child.
And then also, she has to be talking about Cardi B.
And otherwise, it's not evidence. Yep.
The irony of you talking about before Cardi B even had the chance to become a mother, she was pregnant, her child was not here yet. The irony of you saying she's a bad mother for her past and for doing her job, which is touring and performing. And then you record yourself day drinking
while your kid's distance learning.
While your kid is distance learning, shit talking a person you don't know,
Yep.
and yelling at your kid, and then putting it on the internet.
And then putting it on the internet.
And now it is fodder for a trial in which you are accused of slandering someone, libeling them, inflicting emotional distress intentionally. The irony of that.
To the point where a juror could not hold in how much they disliked.
Yeah.
Okay. And they had to talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, this jury also had a potential COVID-19 exposure. And the judge talked to each of them individually, and all of them are like, no, continue with the trial. Because of course they did. Because of course they did. Most jurors would be like, oh yeah, no, I'm out. I'm not worried about this jury was like, I'm here. I'm here. I do not care. I am here.
Okay.
You know they feel some kind of way.
Let me give you guys some insight into that. When your jurors do not want to get off the jury, when they're trying to stay there, they're going to send a message to somebody.
Uh-huh.
And it's not Cardi B.
Nope.
They're going to send a message to somebody. Somebody asked, what is the, someone said, we don't all day drink from time to time. Listen,
look,
I'm not judging the day
I'm not judging the day drinking.
I'm not.
You just don't want that shit to end up in your trial where your character is on trial and you are yelling at your child.
Yeah. Like, chill. I mean, she yells all the time. That's probably just how she speaks in her house. She is a constant yeller, but it's not the day drinking that's the issue. It's just the irony of the overall picture.
Yep.
After all the things you had to say about someone being a bad mother simply because she was performing on stage. Mm-hmm. That's so, to me, like as a woman in 2022, that's so disgusting. That's how that woman makes her money. Be quiet. Yep. So, no, but I was going to say, someone asked this, it's a really, really good question. The importance of the jurors not talking to each other, right? It's because they haven't had all the evidence. They start talking to each other, they're going to start like deliberating, basically, right? Yep. And they
you see it in your chat, right? If you're just reading one side of the lawsuit and people are like, oh shit, that person's this, that, and then you read the response and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about it that way. I didn't think about this part. You got to hear both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to hear both sides. You have to. All right, keep going. Oh, you're muted.
My cat's climbing on my computer.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want you to hear me snapping. So the jury had a potential exposure. It was kind of tenuous. The judge independently polled the jurors. All the jurors are like, we are continuing with this trial. So they are invested. The defense attorney should be very, or the defense, you know what? Maybe they don't care. Maybe the defense attorney is looking at their client going, you're going to lose. And their client's like, I don't care. I don't care. This is fun for me. This is how I make my money. I don't care if I lose.
Someone else is paying. I am convinced they've been paid, so they don't give a crap, right?
So they don't care if they've been paid. And there's no way you go to trial without getting paid first.
No.
You, you do not start trial if you've not been paid.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So they, for sure, have gotten paid. So they don't care. The check's cleared. And I don't think she paid for it. I've been thinking that, and I'm just wondering, like, who did the paying? It has to be the management company, the agency, whoever it is. We need to hydrate.
Maybe. I definitely always need to hydrate. So there's other articles from those who have been watching the trial saying that the jury has been visibly affected by watching Tasha K's video. So whoever's in court can see that they're kind of like, this is more than they're used to. And the videos are more strongly worded, perhaps, than they're used to. And, you know, it's
pretty, if we're going to be fair, here it is. Okay. It's pretty gross. The things that she said. I'm going to take a quick little break, and not like a real break. What I'm saying is we're going to go back to my video, and at 27, I found the timestamp, 27:55, Mrs. Kick, back to the video that I did from last year. Please go to 27 minutes and 55 seconds so you can get an example of how gross the things that Tasha was saying out of her own mouth. Because I did a lot of summaries and things like that, and we heard from Star Marie. Let's hear from Tasha.
Let's hear from Tasha.
A way of a test. Cardi B has asked for discovery.
Is that 27:55?
Which is why I can see the filings, but I can't see the discovery that was filed.
Close enough.
And they may at some point be able to test for whether or not she has these contagious diseases. And if she doesn't, and Tasha K said that she did with a reckless disregard for the truth, then Tasha K would be liable for defamation, libel, slander, and false light.
On September 21st of 2020, Tasha K published a video stating that Cardi B is a prostitute.
One, she mad because I call her a prostitute. So, okay,
is an adulterer.
She done milked his. That's not she to somebody else.
Also, Tasha K admitted in this same video that, quote, I make up stories out of thin air.
I make up stories out of thin air. Tasha just make up stories.
End quote. I knew the S was fake. I knew they was MF fake, the story. I'm going to put the BS out anyway. I knew it was fake and I still made it go viral. If you continue to send me fake stories on you, I'm going to air them as they are.
I knew it was fake. And guess what? Because I knew it was fake, guess what? I still made that go motherfucking viral.
So keep sending me the lies.
That video is what prompted Cardi B.
Yep.
So another thing that I forgot to bring up that was a factor in the lawsuit was that Cardi, you can bring us back to full screen. Cardi alleged that Tasha K was calling her an adulterer and saying that Cardi was cheating on her husband with no evidence of that. Like none whatsoever. Yep. And there are several videos where she's like, you cheat on your husband, you're a whore, you were sleeping with some other man, I have this source. And then when people were telling her, okay, we'll produce the source. Oh, I make up stories. I make up stories.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say this?
You can't, you can't do that though. That's defamation. And during opening statements, her defense attorney said, you know, essentially context is everything. You're just going to have to watch the videos. I think people are going to watch the videos and be like, but you said that shit. So I think the defense has just been like, our client wants to go to trial. We go to trial. We've been paid. And, but that's no reason to piss off the judge.
No
evidence that should be done. It's just, this whole thing's been messy. The judge has been yelling at the defense attorneys the whole time. you know, I wonder if Tasha K is going to turn around and sue her attorneys for ineffective assistance or something and be like, no, they didn't advise me that this was going to go this way. It's like the judge has been yelling at them the entire time. It's just really a wild case to take to trial. You know, I've covered cases where YouTubers have made substantially more videos than Tasha K made on Cardi B. And when you actually see them go to trial, maybe it will give some boundaries for those on YouTube who are just like, I can say whatever I want and claim I have a source. No, you can't. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
And I wonder if at the end of this, Tasha K loses her YouTube channel. That's what I wonder.
So that's what I wanted to ask about next. Let's move on to that. Okay.
Sure.
Unless we've got more awesome facts.
That's kind of a culmination of what's going on. I don't know what happened in court today or if they're still dealing with the evidentiary issues. I mean, I'm sure Cardi B's lawyers are like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no.
Are you kidding me that we are in the defense case and this is what we're dealing with? I would have thought before they took this pause that they might close this week. I think if this jury's already chomping at the bit, this jury could go back and be like, can we just vote? Guilty, guilty, guilty. Good. How much money are we giving? Because punitive damages is in there, which means punishment damages.
Oh, she's definitely going to get hit with punitive damages. Okay.
They're mad.
Questions. Okay, so I've got two. The first one is, what are the wider implications for YouTube? You got there before me, you smarty McSmarterson.
We always think about the platform. Think about the platform.
Yeah. Think about the platform. No, but seriously, there are first of all, let's start with Tasha K's own channel, right? How does Tasha K keep a YouTube channel where she has admitted under oath that she uses it as a tool to lie about people knowingly?
No. If I'm Cardi B's attorneys, after I get this judgment, I am waiting for the official copy from the court. I am writing a strongly worded letter to YouTube and saying, this is what has happened. This needs to come down. Yeah. That's exactly, if I was Cardi B's attorneys, that's what I would do. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Cardi B's fans also called on YouTube to be like, okay, it's played out in court. How do you leave this up?
Yeah.
I don't know how they do as a platform, because it goes against all of the creator codes of conduct. It goes against terms of service. So now you have a court saying this creator violated terms of service.
Right.
So I would be surprised if YouTube leaves her channel up and just was like, oh, take down the offending videos. I'd be surprised based on how extreme of an example this case is.
Could YouTube become liable for publishing this libel after there's a court order saying that this stuff you have on your platform is libel and you know it?
I don't know. I think 230 protections would still apply, and it would be very hard to go after YouTube for that, but it would definitely change the world of how YouTube regulates YouTube if they could be sued. I think that it would be a very bad look for YouTube because YouTube's constantly getting flamed for allowing harassment on the platform. And now you have look, this went to trial. You can't allow it. Also, Cardi B, how many millions of subscribers on YouTube does Cardi B have? Like 15 million?
Yeah.
I mean, her channel also brings money into YouTube.
Yeah.
So I think there's got to be some repercussions for a court saying you violated terms of service. I think there has to be something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what if one YouTuber decided, say they're not celebrities, but just one YouTuber just woke up one day and decided to start a smear campaign on another YouTuber.
And it happens
all the time.
All the time.
I mean, someone tried it with me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
people tried it with me.
Yeah. If you have a platform, someone's going to start putting up. Now, we don't want people getting shut down left and right for no reason, but how much do they tolerate? Where's the line? And what enforces that line? I think these are all good questions. I don't want to see YouTube get sued. I don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
No, they're a platform. And then it's like, okay, well, if YouTube gets sued, does Twitter get sued for things people tweet? Does Facebook get sued for things people say? Do you sue the speaker? Do you sue the platform? I mean, I rather see it that if YouTube took my channel down, I have a recourse against YouTube for shutting me down as a speaker. Yeah. I'd rather see that than a third party suing YouTube because of something I said. I'm sure I've offended people. I have purple hair and I say curse words all the time. They let me know in the comments if they're offended. I let them know they can keep going. But you know, if I had recourse, I'm okay with that. If a third party has recourse, it's different. But there's a court order here and YouTube has to be aware of this. So
Yeah.
at some point when the platform has to proactively take action, when everybody says, "Can you please just review this?" I'm saying review it, because there are channels that make all of their content harassing others. And is that the environment YouTube wants for its advertisers? Because at the end of the day, it wants advertiser friendly content.
Right.
Is harassment advertiser friendly?
Yeah. I mean, the vid is not advertiser friendly, but
Correct.
you can disparage a baby that's not been born yet, and that's advertiser
Right.
friendly.
I can't talk about the trial of G. Maxwell
Oh no.
safely. Can't talk about any of it. And it affects all of us. That is a trial going on in court. And not even talking about the allegations, but just talking about what's happening in court and jurors running amok. But
You're demonetized.
shh.
Yep. And not only that, you're demonetized, and then your video won't get as many views because
Yep,
they
no
don't want
reach.
people to see it.
Nope.
The same thing with I call him Jodo, but one of the 19 kids and counting. You bring him up, and I'm like, Jodo. You bring him up, and they're like, get this video out of here.
Yep, you're done.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, these are things happening in the world. We need to talk about the
We
laws
need to
and how the
talk
laws
about it.
work. And we need to talk about federal sentencing and the fact that you can't stack lesser included crimes. People need to understand these things.
Yes, most certainly.
Yep.
Most certainly.
So.
Wow.
But I think she could lose her channel. I would be
Yeah.
surprised if she doesn't.
Mhm.
She got taken down. What I learned in this trial that I didn't know is she got taken off of Instagram 3 times.
Yeah, I
And
know.
apparently she's block banned. She's block evading on Instagram. She could lose her Instagram too, I think. It would be very interesting to see what Cardi B's lawyers do after this, because I imagine they will go to the platforms next. And Cardi B has enough sway to do that. Everybody else might not.
Yeah. I think she was taken off of Twitter at one point in time. I don't know if she's back. But I know that back when I made the video last year, she was definitely taken off Twitter because I was trying to find her on there, and she was gone.
She was taken off of Instagram 3 times for harassing content.
Wow, that is very, very concerning. Like, you can be a gossip blogger. There are plenty of them on YouTube.
There's ways to gossip without defaming.
Without defaming, it's actually, there's like a formula for it,
I think Perez Hilton kind of tailed that line where he regularly went too far, but it wasn't defamatory too far. It was distasteful too far. It was offensive too far, but it wasn't always defamatory too far. Sometimes it was.
This is like off topic. I can't help it though.
We love it off topic.
Yeah. Well, my number one problem with Perez Hilton was, as a gay person himself, outing other gay people and thinking that it was like, but you have to live in your truth. That is none of your business.
Nope.
That is none of your business.
Not at all.
And like the things he said about like the mentally ill celebrities that went on to harm themselves or pass away untimely. He said some very terrible things about people, and it was like almost like he would pick a celebrity and just go after them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he wouldn't defame.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. With speech, there's these boundaries of stuff that's horrific. And you're like, that's disgusting. Why would you say that? It's like, agreed, but also you can. Defamation is fairly specific. And there's a difference. Internet harassment laws have come a long way since the early days of Perez Hilton. Of Perez Hilton.
Yeah. Yeah, it has come a long way, and the courts have seriously defined what's malicious lies, like that you're lying about the person. Okay, so I am going
normally hard to prove unless you're Tasha K and you tell on yourself.
And you tell on yourself. And okay, so let me give my little example of why this case fascinates me so much. I said that I would do that at the beginning, and now we are here at the end. Okay.
We chatted.
It was awesome.
I love having a chat.
So I wanted to get your opinion on this. I think that you know about this. I talked about this in my earlier restart of my YouTube channel. So right around the time that I relaunched my YouTube channel, I was on Facebook, and I don't even go on Facebook that much anymore. It's so funny, with a high school friend of mine, and we're chatting back and forth, and she shares this status from an actress friend of hers. They're both actresses. So she shares, based in California, she shares her status, and it says, I'm not attracted to Black men because I don't find men of that race attractive. Does that make me a racist? Okay. So There's a lot of rigmarole back and forth, but it later came out that she actually encouraged my friend to share it until she started getting flamed. So, some people were like, oh, because it was a public status, and
Right.
then she was like, oh, can you tag me in it so people know that, like, I want people to come look at my page. She thought it was a way to start a discussion.
A good conversation starter?
Yeah, she thought it was
Racism, just a casual conversation starter. That's a choice.
that really works in Hollywood,
Mhm.
So some people said no, doesn't make you a racist. Like, just because you don't like black guys because you're not attracted to guys of that race, doesn't make you racist. And some people were like, yes, and it was like a little discussion that was going on. And for the most part, she responded pretty, like, either didn't respond at all, or the people that agree with her, she would respond to them. And I said, yeah, I think it makes you racist because not because of the fact that you're not attracted to black men, but the fact that you felt the need to tell us. Like, I didn't realize she was in there responding. I thought it was one of those like random memes type things. I
Right.
didn't know the actual person.
You thought somebody else had been like, this person said this.
like, oh my God.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, like the fact that you feel the need to discuss it, that's what I think makes you racist, So it's not really like people have their preferences and just keep them to themselves. Like, you don't need to tell us that you don't like
Right.
black men. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what makes it racist, right? And I was like, you're trying to provoke people, and that's what I think it's about. And she goes, I'm a Sagittarius with a stellium and something, whatever that. And I was like, ma'am, are you using astrology to justify racism?
It's an interesting direction to go. It's like, no, it's not racist. I'm a Sagittarius.
I'm a Sagittarius. And she's like, no, I'm just trying to tell you I'm very vocal. And I was like, I don't know
confused.
what. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, so you're crazy. Okay.
Great. I'm telling you that I just vomit things out of my mouth.
Yeah. I have like no impulse control. So it gets pretty spicy with eventually, I was just like, like, that's just my opinion. You asked, are you racist? I thought that was.
You opened the door for conversation. I'm a lawyer. We have conversations.
I answered. You asked and answered,
Yeah, exactly. Natalie, the amount of time I say that to my children.
Oh,
The amount of time I say that to my children.
oh my God. I cannot wait.
It's like, Mom, can I play the iPad again? I'm like, asked and answered.
Asked and answered.
CIE, my previous statement.
I will sustain my own objection. Just be quiet.
Anyway.
So she
spicy on Facebook.
Spicy on Facebook. It gets crazy on Facebook. We go back and forth. She threatens to perform witchcraft on me and to hex me and all types of other crazy things.
She's a Sagittarius witch.
She's a Sagittarius witch.
Interesting information.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm moving on with my life,
It's like, I forgot that I don't fight with unhinged on
Yeah.
I don't fight with unhinged. I have discussions with people I disagree with. We don't fight with unhinged.
No. Once she threatened me with the witchcraft, I was like, okay, you crazy.
We see it. Great.
You're real crazy. Okay, I'm done, right? So I'm like, all right, that's cool. So I'm done. So I leave it where it is. She blocks me. I'm like, that's cool.
Cool. Please do.
I go on about my life. Like, I can't even see her page anymore. She's blocked me. It's fine. The next thing that I know, say that's October. No, that's September. I get married in the October. November, I'm sitting at home with my husband. I get hit with a lawsuit. Somebody, I swear to God, it was not me, because if it was me, I would fess up to it, because I don't think that anything is wrong with it, but I just didn't do it. Well, it's not my style. I don't dox people. I don't see the point.
No.
I don't. It's not like illegal.
Lawyer, I see where things can go very badly, especially in criminal law. You're like, we're not playing in that.
No, snitches get stitches, man. Like, I'm not snitching on nobody. I'm not doing that. Like, the universe will take care of you. No, no, thank you. So
I don't need to.
Somebody, because it was hundreds of people in the post, it went viral, right, on Facebook. And someone took screenshots of her being like, oh, by the way, she called me a black bitch, and she called me a ghetto hood rat, and she says that she's
the same person who would clearly not call me a ghetto hood rat. But you don't know me.
No. That I live in the ghetto and all this type of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, like all this like crazy stuff. She said on her own page, I couldn't even see it because.
So she confirmed your prior beliefs.
I had a suspicion, and I think I was right? So someone took those screenshots and they shared them with her employer on Twitter because, of course, she said I just got this new job. I'm so excited about it. And they were like, no, you don't. So they shared it with her employer.
Do they know this?
Yeah. And they were like, is this the type of person that you want to hire? And they fired her. And they shared it with her agent, her Hollywood agent. And he was like, letting you go, babe. Sorry. Sorry, can't do it. Again, was not me because I literally got married like 2 weeks later. I'm not thinking about this.
I'm busy living my life, and you blocked me off your page, so I can't see it.
I can't see it. So it's not the things that she went and said about me afterwards, I couldn't see anyway because she blocked me. So it clearly was not me. But she hired this, I feel very comfortable saying this, lunatic attorney who was draining her of all of her money. Eventually,
there are some that will do that. They will just be like, "Oh, you want me to file this thing I can't file?
Yeah.
Sweet, the check is cleared. We got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yep. And so, I did. Once I was served with the lawsuit, I did my little thing where I was able to see her Facebook. Ghost Facebook accounts. We all know how that works. We've all done investigation. I did some investigation. Let's put it that way.
Creep.
Yeah, had to creep. And so she was sharing how she spent $10,000 on this lawyer. And I'm like, this is a completely frivolous lawsuit. I filed a pro se anti-slap motion. This is in California. I live in Maryland. I'm litigating anti-slap demurs, all types of shit.
You ceded jurisdiction?
Oh no. I
would have been
did not cede jurisdiction. Okay. So in order to argue an anti-slap in California, you don't have to. I forgot that. If you file a demur and an anti-slap motion, you can argue the demur in alternative of the anti-slap motion.
I love that. Perfect.
And if you lose the demur, then you go to the anti-slap motion.
Yep.
The judge granted both of them. She was like, I want to address both of these. And so that is what really piqued my interest because she was on her Facebook page and I used it in my anti-slap motion. I used it in a whole bunch of other things. That like the demur and stuff like that. But I used the things that she said later, just like Tasha K, which were just basically like, I am going to destroy this black bee. She thinks that she's better than me because she's a lawyer, and I'm going to bring her like to heel, basically. Like I am going to show her.
I'm going to show you.
Yeah. And I was like, this is racism. She's admitting it.
Also, this is a harassing lawsuit.
Oh, yes.
She's admitting it. This is a frivolous lawsuit.
That's right. She wants to bring me to heel. She was not actually defamed by me, and she cannot prove that I did anything to keep her from getting a job or keeping a job. She then changed her profile picture to a cat that looked like Hitler, So I was just like,
oh, that's low key. That's a low key choice. What the fuck?
Oh no, she's absolutely.
You shook the wrong tree of crazy.
Yeah. I didn't know. I did not. I had like a moment where I was like, oh no, I'm not talking to a rational person. Never mind. Yeah. So a demur is saying, I'm not answering this. I'm not saying that I should.
I'm not saying I should be here.
Here's why, right? And mine was that you didn't have jurisdiction over me because I didn't reach into the state of California and do anything to her.
Right. And being on Facebook does not count for jurisdiction.
There's literal law on that. Being on the internet does not put you into that person's jurisdiction.
Yep.
And basically, it was a mess. Her attorney hired a forensic document examiner to find my IP address, and
spend your money, lady. Spend your money.
So crazy.
Enjoy.
So they found out the IP address of the person that doxed her was in New Jersey. I was based in Maryland, so clearly it wasn't me. I was like, your own expert is like presenting evidence that it couldn't have been me. So what is this?
Hey, Natalie, they're asking to slow the chat down a little bit.
Oh, okay. It's almost done, so don't even worry about it. But thank you. I should have done that before because look at you amazing people in here. 1,459 of you. Thank you.
Chatting.
Yes. This is all thanks to
conversations. That's insane though. That's the thing that I remind people, because occasionally people will be, ask me when I do still do some consulting work, mostly with other lawyers about the internet. And, occasionally creators are like, how do I prevent myself from getting sued? I'm like, you don't. Anyone can sue anyone for anything. You have to put yourself in the best position to defend. And everything you do should put yourself in the best position to defend, because occasionally someone will come for you. Can I share something with you I haven't shared with anyone yet? Can we do an exclusive?
Okay, wait, it's exclusive.
It's exclusive because we're friends here. One of the parties that I have discussed in a lawsuit, not a female party, for all of you that are going to think it is that.
Oh, well, I immediately
not an individual that has a crystal ball. It is not that individual.
Oh,
but an individual in one of the cases I have talked about a lot served me with a subpoena because they would like to get all of my communications with third parties. I'm like, oh, no. That is not how that works.
That's getting quashed.
Yep. We haven't had to respond yet, so they don't quite know what we're going to do. But
okay, let me shut up. Okay.
No. There's no response that's coming. So they're either going to have a lovely conversation with my attorney and be like, oh, she's covered by the reporter shield laws and the media shield laws, or they are going to get a lovely motion to quash. So one of the two is going to happen. But I'm like, I realize a lot of creators would just be like, whatever, it's this and it's that, just take it. I don't care. I'm so morally offended that you would ask me for stuff that I don't have to give you, that I'm like, we will ride. I'm not going to just be like, oh, here, you asked me for things. Here you go. You have no right to any of that. Absolutely. Whatever may or may not exist, you have no right, and you don't get to know, because that's not how that works. But that's one of the things about creating content. And I didn't realize how unhinged that could get until I was covering the Toddy Westbrook case, and everything literally came unglued. And I was like, oh, I'm used to dealing with lawyers. Damn it.
That's it. That is it. That's it.
Because even lawyers I don't like, I can follow their train of thought.
Yeah. Wow. I've never thought of it like that. You know, some of the like most bizarre things where it's just like, people threatening lawsuits, people threatening exposure or whatever foolishness. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're right.
Yes.
We need to deal with lawyers. Like, sir, this is not how, or ma'am, this is not how the law works. Exactly. The thing that you think the law is going to do for you, it's not going to do anything but eat your money from some very unscrupulous attorney who doesn't give a damn that your case is completely frivolous.
Yep. So it's been very interesting. Y'all, don't worry. I spilled the tea in here. Once we resolve the matter, I'll talk about it more. Because, you know, I'm always saying, look, when you've got matters going on, just don't chat about it. I will, when it is done, I will chat about it more, because it will be done quickly. But also, you can come to my state and find me. Come on. I'm here. You can come on into my state of Tennessee.
Oh.
But I've got some very lovely female attorneys that I love. And the other thing, a lot of lawyers wouldn't, and I totally understand, just married, why you were like, I'm diving into this and doing it myself. I don't want to do it myself. And also, I don't practice in Tennessee. I want them, the lawyers that do this all the time, go do it.
Oh yeah. No. The reason I took care of it myself was twofold. Number one, it was $10,000 for me to hire someone. And I was
and you're like, no,
I'm not doing that. Number two, I felt such personal satisfaction of being a Maryland criminal defense attorney who knew that I was going to demolish this so-called internet expert California attorney. I knew I was going to demolish him. I spoke to him on the phone one time for our Good Faith Conference or whatever it was called. And I was like, oh, you're chump change. You're chump. I know that you talk a big game. You have a cute website. You're chump change. You don't have a case, and you're ripping this crazy lady off. And it was time consuming. It was stressful. I loved it.
Yeah. You're like, I see you.
Yeah.
And I will take you down. And I've responded to some things myself. I got a cease and desist for talking about the Toddy Westbrook case. Did you not hear? Have we not chatted about this?
We haven't chatted about this, but no, I've seen people. Are we talking about Crystal Ball Lady?
I know. I got a cease and desist. Hold on. I think it's right. I've got to show you this pile of papers I got.
Okay, wait. You pull the pile of papers, and I am going to do super chats real quick. Rudy, $5 super chat. Joining Emily's channel now. I remember your case, Nat. If it makes you feel better, that plaintiff is what we call a regular. Hold on, Emily. Hold on, Emily.
Yep.
I'm doing super chats right now while you get your stuff together. Okay.
I was just gonna.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I was gonna say, let me tell you a story.
Okay. I want to hear the story. I want to
super chats.
Let me do these real quick. Marvin Lott, $20 super chat. Love you both the most. I have been waiting for this for a very long time now. Thank you. And if you go back a few months, like maybe 8 months, 9 months.
You have one on my channel.
There's one on Emily's channel with
Nate.
Nate the lawyer. Yes,
Nate.
who was in here earlier.
Yes.
If you ever see this, hi again, Nate. It was so nice seeing you. I saw you. Ben Bet with the $5 super chat. Not only does performing generate income, she was most likely contractually obligated and couldn't just not perform because she was pregnant, referring to Cardi B. That's a really good point.
Really fair point.
See Carl Go, but it's written the letter C, Carl Go. It's really cute. $2. It's a fake. Romulan Senator Vreenak. That is a Star Trek reference. And I love it. Miss Opinionated with the $10 super chat. Hi, Nat and EDB. Based on the information provided by Tasha K, a general and professional insurance policy would be voided under misrepresentation because she knowingly lied.
That's right.
Content.
That's fair. They would be like, oh, this is an intentional act. And most things don't cover intentional acts. They cover accidents and omissions.
Yeah.
That's a very fair point. I don't deal with insurance very often.
And I'm convinced it's the agency. It's the agency that's like, you're going to get big off of this. It does all press is good press. You know,
this is not good press. This is not good press when Cardi B is like, I'm going to take 15% of everything you earn until this is paid off for the rest of your life. Everything you make.
It's done. She's going to get her house. Tasha, I know you have an LLC, but I think it's going to be really, really easy to pierce your corporate veil.
Well, she's being sued personally too.
Yeah.
So,
the company and the person.
They're suing on both. There's no.
So, Cardi might get your house, girl.
Yep. The LLC didn't do that. Yeah.
Dave Michael RN has been a member for 4 months. Thank you very much for being a lawyer, Chickla. I appreciate you. Oh, glad you shouted out the Brooklyn Fire Offer class act. It was Bronx, actually, but yes, I'm glad that Emily brought that up.
Did I say Brooklyn?
I
thought I said.
You said Brooklyn. It's okay. I'm saying it was the Bronx. You said the Bronx. You said it. M. Juniper with the $5 super chat. Is this not criminal for her to be so blatant? Love your videos. God, I know. So unless it's like,
there are very specific types of threats that are criminal depending on state, and they are threats of harm.
Threats of violence.
Specific threats of harm.
And for harassment, it's usually like you follow the person around, you call.
They're hard to prove, man. I did when I was a intern at the DA's office. I worked with stalking and threat assessment, crimes against peace officers, and arson. I really enjoyed arson. It was fascinating because I like fraud. Crimes against peace officers was horribly sad and very, very violent. And then stalking and threat assessment, it was fascinating. And again, mostly celebrity stuff, but it can be hard to prove. Like, for it to be worth criminally prosecuting, it has to be so bad. Like when you hear celebrities like, Kendall Jenner saying like somebody broke into my house and was sleeping in my bed and like walking around in my clothes, like that level bad on multiple occasions.
Oh, that's a Buffalo Bill level type of crazy,
awful stuff.
Okay. All right. So Matt Bond, Australian $2. This is almost as, and it's all emojis. So it's awesome. That emoji, shit, poop emoji, crazy, and like a crazy face as the Britney case. I agree. I think this case needs more media attention.
It does mean, I think, I don't know. I wonder if the media sees YouTuber and is like, this isn't a big deal. It is a big deal though, because celebrities don't often win defamation cases. And it is a big deal when they do, because celebrities are people too. Celebrities shouldn't be defamed. And the standard is very high. And Tasha K is like, I knew it was fake. I didn't care. I think it's funny. And the jury's going to be like, we're done here.
Yeah, that's the case. The case is over. It's a zombie case. The case is already done. It's just limping along, right? To get to
a matter of how much is the question.
Yes. Yep. Gina Guardado, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Gina. I love you both. We love you. I never comment, but watching y'all together, I just had to. I love you all so much. Well, that's so kind.
Thank you.
That's so nice. Okay, Rudy, $10 super chat. We had the J and the Low. Like
J-Lo. We were talking about We were talking about Lilo, but she was talking about J-Lo.
Oh, lock us out of lunchroom. But the only time, I got starstruck was when Denise Cosby from Star Trek: The Next Generation did jury duty a few years ago. I'm a big time Trekkie trekker. Aw, and that's
Celebrities
why
show
the other
up.
person. Yes, awesome. Okay, I got it. I love The Next Generation. That's my favorite one of the Star Treks. And then after that, it's Deep Space Nine. And then after that, it's the OG Star Trek, only because it's funny, even when it doesn't mean to be. Devlin, $4.99 super chat. I was my husband's waitress. We did that one. We're all caught up. Let's go. Let's get to the book.
So in the Toddy Westbrook litigation, all of them, the business partner lawsuit that kicked it off at the beginning is the business partner suing. It's a derivative lawsuit in LA. It's got all the allegations and the tea and the beauty drama of it all and the Carmageddon, Dramageddon, whatever.
Mhm.
In that, I was provided a derivative demand response, because when you're doing derivative lawsuits, I'm not going to bore y'all, but it's like when the company's suing the other part of the company, because there's 3 owners of the company, you
Mhm.
have to do some pre-litigation stuff before it goes to trial. So it's not a settlement offer, it's pre-litigation work in the derivative space. I got a copy of that from the attorney. Well, I won't say who I got it from, but from the side of Toddy Westbrook. So I got a copy of it and published a video on it, and then got a cease and desist 8 months later about that video. And this was the like, see, we're telling you why you should take that video down and why you
That's
should
the
look at our
cease and
new
desist?
suit. No, the cease and desist is actually only like 2 pages.
Okay.
The rest of this is a lawsuit filed in Washington. The fascinating thing about this stack of papers is the document that I covered on my channel is attached as an exhibit to this filed litigation.
That you filed in a public. Did they file it's publicly filed? And then you went
Oh,
to the
and they gave it to me, helpfully, because it's in here, but they also filed it publicly twice with all its exhibits. So they're like, please take your video down talking about this letter. Also, here is this letter. We have now made it public record. And I'm like,
You responded to that personally.
I responded to that personally.
Absolutely, you did. How could you not?
I was just like, okay. But it's just when this stuff gets wild, you're like, what? I also got a notice to preserve from someone I've never had a conversation with. I'm like, sure. I went over that on my channel too. It was interesting content. I was like, thanks for the notice to preserve. I'm what I'm not gonna do.
This is how we know that you are let's see, Empress of Law YouTube.
I don't know. I think Nick has gotten more stuff than I have, but like, just don't. I cover documents. I talk about the documents. I talk about what's in the documents. We talk about the documents being allegations. If you don't want me talking smack on your documents, put dates in them. Don't write them terribly, and I won't talk shit about your documents.
Don't have typos, you know.
And I'm dyslexic. I don't see half the typos. If I see a typo, it's bad, because my brain normally just flips stuff around and I don't even see it. But there was an entire lawsuit I went over that had no dates. No dates. I'm like, when did any of this happen? Am I supposed to guess? The first
someone got paid for that. Someone got paid for that.
Someone got paid. It always makes me more confident in my skills when I read some of this shit. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
There are levels here, because when you're in criminal law, you generally don't see as much variety.
Yeah.
Because people self-select in. It is a hard job to get. There's a very thorough interviewing process.
Yeah.
You are trained along the way. You have mentors along the way. You have judges that help you, act right. And that doesn't happen in civil practice.
No, you have to have either you have to be an excellent self-starter who goes to the CLEs, who has a mentor, who is so invested in your profession, or you're in a law firm that just doesn't play, right? And they're out there, right?
And your partner just yells at you every time you mess up, and you learn not to mess up.
And you learn that way. Or you're just out here like Mr. I'm advertising myself as the best lawyer in the world, but I can't even like respond to my motion to quash in his lawsuit in a timely fashion. Guy, I'm talking about, I got sued for calling a racist case, right? This guy couldn't even respond in a timely fashion to my motions to quash, and then played it off like that's not the reason that he lost some very significant motions in the case.
No.
Like, horrible practice. There are some people that they just struck out on their own and they never had any mentorship, and they are just out here jacking it up, man. But that's not the majority of lawyers, guys. It's really not. Okay. All right.
It's just wild. So yeah, it's been interesting on the YouTubes for sure. It's a journey.
I cannot wait to talk to you more about that. I think I got like two more super chats. I'm gonna read them. And then we're gonna go
back. Oh, and the chat answered. Your chat is so great. Chicklets. Chicklets and wonders. It's good to see all of you.
Yeah. I got a few more than 3.
Oh, you do? Okay, wait. Oh my goodness. Okay, so maybe I should say bye to Emily and like release her to be free.
It's okay. Do the super chats. We're here.
Okay.
I've been the one talking like this, so we're just.
No, it's me when I'm on your channel. I just, Emily, listen to me.
I just want to chat.
Okay. The next one, you start off with Bim Betty. Bim Betty. I'm probably saying that wrong. For $5.
I don't see it. And Bim Bet.
Okay, we'll go.
Okay,
we'll go with how you said it.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, I read that one already. I read that one already. The batshit crazy one. Read that. Read that. Okay, Matt Bomb with a $2 Australian super chat. Good day, Matt. Such a nice guy. Mm-hmm. How do you defend a ham sandwich? Cameo Stark has been a member for 2 months.
1 bite at a time?
Yeah, I don't know. Cameo Stark has been a member for 2 months and says this is iconic. Last night was epic as well. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay Davis with a $35 super chat. Hi, Nat. Hi, Jay Davis. Great collaboration with Emily. It has been. Please have her back. I would love to. I would only be so lucky. Tasha K, is a straight up ignoramus. This is not me saying this. In addition to having a mean spirit, she has no respect for herself, the law, or the consequences. I don't know
if she appreciates the consequences at all. I don't know if she appreciates how that's going to go for her.
No, she definitely is not thinking ahead here. Hella Swanky, the $5 super chat. Oh, by the way, I'm subscribing to Emily D. Baker right after this live. Thanks for putting me on, Natalie. What we got to do to get her on again? Take my money. Thank you so much. Thank you. Rudy, $5 super chat. I am a court services assistant in LA, but you would be surprised how much we learn about the law. Oh, I can only imagine.
Oh, I can imagine.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, you guys are like in the nitty gritty of it.
Yep.
Patricia D with the $4.99 super chat, no message. Thank you very much, Patricia. Kendra with the $9.99 super chat. 2 of my faves. Great show. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is the last one. It has to be the last one, guys. We got to let Emily go home and her cats need her. Okay.
They do. And also I have been, because I talked about Brittany's stuff before we got to this, because there's mess. So yes, at some point I have to go eat.
Yeah. Same. I've been doing work things and then YouTube things all day. I have not stopped.
You're probably so busy.
Okay, so Henhouse Bath Company, the $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Natalie and plus Emily equals YouTube gold.
Thank you.
That's it. That's it.
I love getting to chat with you. Now it's always so fun. Thank you for sharing about how you got sued and kicked ass. I mean, that takes some dedication. Anti-slap suits are no joke. You guys know we've been covering them quite a lot because they come up in California, and the California anti-slap statute's pretty strong.
It is. So. It's great. I love it. Everyone should adopt it.
And then like Nick Rekieta's like, no one should have anti-slap statutes, none at all. And I'm like, and he's like, no, let it go to discovery. Speech is speech. I'm like, but harassing lawsuits are harassing lawsuits. Yeah. Cut that shit off early. And did you see Keemstar's anti-slap? Did you see any of this?
No.
Polarizing figure on the internet. No way co-signing shit that he says. But a YouTuber sued him for repeating stuff that YouTuber said on an interview with Keemstar. So Keemstar interviewed the YouTuber sued Keemstar for things that YouTuber said on the interview.
No.
Keemstar didn't even worry about New York jurisdiction. Same. Was like, here's the anti-slap. I wonder if they filed a demur at the same time. I'll have to go back and look.
Maybe.
Won the anti-slap, went after lawyers' fees, won their lawyers' fees, well over $100,000. They negotiated the legal fees down so that Keemstar took less in cash and the gold play button from the other YouTuber.
They took the gold play button?
Took the gold play button in lieu of some of the cash payment.
I love it.
Died. Then gets on Instagram and YouTube and unboxes the gold play button.
Shut up.
Takes a Sharpie, Sharpies out the individual's name on the gold play button and puts his name on it at like a hunting trophy.
Wow.
I wonder if Cardi B is going to be like, and I want your play button.
I want your play button.
Cardi B probably. Well, Cardi B's over 10 million. I mean, do they give the music channels the 10 million play button? I'm sure they do.
Well,
it was a very interesting move watching how that anti-slap played out. And I'm like, I mean, I don't agree with everything you said, but that's the right response.
That's it. That's it.
Oh.
You repeating what someone else said is not defamation.
Yes, you're defaming me by saying the shit that I said to you.
Yeah. How dare you answer my question? You're defaming me. That was mine was. Okay, guys. This has been amazing, illuminating. I've learned so much. Oh, Lord. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me just make sure.
Oh, Lord. Uh-oh is never good.
Okay. No, I think I'm good.
Well, we'll see Cardi B win. We'll see how much she wins. I think that's the only question. How much?
How much is it going to be? And do they take Tasha's house? That's all I want to know.
And does her YouTube channel get taken down?
Yeah.
After all of this?
I mean, the woman who sued me, she ran from having to pay so all my legal fees. Obviously, I didn't have attorney fees because I didn't hire an attorney, but she ran away from paying my legal fees and left the state. And so that's where that is. But
she spent way more trying to come after you.
Over $10,000.
And ran herself out of the state.
Poor baby.
Shame.
Poor baby. Anyway, that's that, guys. Thank you so much for coming to tonight's stream. I hope that you all take care of yourselves and be well. And thank you, Emily D. Baker. You're amazing. You're the best.
You're amazing. Thank you for having me. I love our chats.
I love it. Thank you, mods. And thank you, Mrs. Kick. Just real quick, I know that some of you may not know this. Mrs. Kick has had some personal and family things go on recently, but she has been an amazing help to this channel despite all of that. And so please, guys, send Mrs. Kick some love and some support. I don't need to get into everything, but just trust me, give her love and support. She deserves it. And everyone, see you in tomorrow's video and see you next week. Bye.
Yay. Yay.